called black. Before black, you was called Negro. Before Negro, you was called color. Before colored, you was called nigger. Before nigger, you was called Indian. After the term black, you was called African American. So one of the things that we have to do is ask ourselves, why do they keep changing our identity?
By all the powers vested in me, I claim this island and name it San Salvador. Don Christopher? The natives are to be converted to our ways.
This is an Indian vice. Certainly don't see the pleasure that would make this a sin.
The Indians have no such word, Moxica.
This is one of my many unsuccessful experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done.
In 1897, the Smithsonian Institute's Bureau of American Ethnology wrote in its annual report that, and I quote, "The blood of the Southern Negro is unquestionably Indian," end quote. The Bureau, whose focus was on North American Indian cultures, was established in 1879 by Congress. According to the Bureau, and I quote the full quote, "As the coast tribes dwindled, they were compelled to associate and intermarry with Negroes until they finally lost their identity and were classed with that race, so that a considerable portion of the blood of the Southern Negro is unquestionably Indian," end quote. So you may ask, if it was known that the blood of Southern Negroes was unquestionably Indian, and Indian blood is what defines who an American Indian is, why is it difficult for dark-skinned people to claim their native identity? The answer lies in colonial laws, which made slave blood negate Indian blood.
Shout out to the brother Black Wild Indian. Send me my first birthday cash app. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you and your continued support in my chat. My chat is awesome. Anyone that don't have to give, I appreciate y'all being here. Peace and bliss.
My name is Solomon North. I'm a free man.
You know, free man.
You're just a runaway nigger from Georgia.
Because you travel and you start to realize that the word should mean nothing to you. In South Africa, that word should mean nothing to us. In South Africa, that word should mean nothing to us. Kaffir. Travel, you go to places like America, and do you know the word kaffir doesn't exist there? Doesn't mean anything to those people. You say nigger, and they get really offended. Nigger, and they're like, oh, what? How could you? How could you? But then here, the word nigger in Xhosa means to give. So I heard that my whole life growing up in my house from my mom. She'd be like, hey, nigga, 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 nigga.
Yeah, Indians, niggas, same thing.
Starting in 1912, Dr. Plecker was the director of the state's Bureau of Vital Statistics, carefully compiling birth and death records. Anyone who had one drop of other than white blood was listed as colored.
Boys can read so good. How come you missed that sign on the door over there?
Oh, that sign on the door that we just, how come we didn't see that sign and say no colors allowed, Chloe? We just rushed in, we was really hungry, so we kind of missed that.
That back in 1961, blacks were not referred to as African. They were referred to as Negro.
There were only 8% of the slaves that came to America. So how is it that there are so many more people that they claim are black or African Americans? I think they got the numbers wrong, because a lot of Native Americans are the ones that they're counting as black folks too.
They also started to list any full-blooded Native American who had African features as black.
Not bad. Not bad. We with it.
I was reading to prepare for this interview. I was quite surprised to see you use the word Aborigine.
Run it back.
Talking about African Americans.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigines, but you don't like to be called an Aborigine.
Vi Higginson, the prospect of tracing even a tiny fraction of her ancestry back to Africa was enthralling. 60 Minutes sent her DNA to African Ancestry, as well as to several other genetic genealogy companies, to see what they could tell us about Vi's maternal lineage. So what do we know about Vi's ancestry? The DNA does indicate that she has distant relatives in the Mende tribe, but she also has relatives in all those other tribes. So no one can say for sure where Vi's maternal ancestor actually came from. When I handed Vi the certificate, she got extremely emotional about it. She wept, and it meant so very much.
People want to believe.
They want to believe they've gotten an answer.
And it's not fair of us to let them believe that we're giving them certain answers, because scientifically, we just can't.
Now, you've looked at several of these companies that are doing these tests.
Yes.
Do you think that they explain what you just explained to us?
No, I don't think any of them does as good a job of pointing out the limitations. But, you know, businesses often don't go around telling you how weak their product is.
This business of genetic genealogy is fraught with limitations. For one thing, it can only provide information about a tiny fraction of our ancestry.
We don't oversell. I mean, we just say, look, we provide a service. If you're interested in exploring a tiny bit of your DNA and trace its ancestry, we can do that.
When you say it's a tiny little amount,
it's less than 0.1%.
And that's pretty teeny.
When Oprah was finally in the first series, and we gave her a DNA test, basically, the next day she went to South Africa to announce. She just had the test, and then she was Zulu. So I called Rick Kittles, and I said, Rick, did you tell Oprah she was a Zulu? He goes, no, man, she made that up herself. I said, Rick, are you in your lab? He said, yeah. I said, is anybody there? He said, no. I said, when the results come in, make her Zulu, man. You know? I said, you back there making it up anyway. Nobody believe you can take some spit and figure out a tribe? What, are you crazy?
All I wanted was a new Mercedes. Bending off the corner, whipping off the lot, I got it. Women love me, but it's sad.
Listen, real Americans. Pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest fighter ever lived. Oh, come on, man. What about Joe Louis?
What do you mean by America is my mama?
I don't know nothing else. I wasn't eating chitlins when I was in Africa. I wasn't eating watermelon when I was in Africa. Huh? I wasn't wearing zoot suits when I was in Africa. I wasn't getting my hair cut when I was in Africa. This bitch is my mama. And yours too. Except I know it's mine. That's all I'm saying.
When I came from the bottom, Lord knows.
If you look at pictures from the 1900s and beyond, most of the Native American people were very dark-skinned. Sometimes they were very jet black. But most Native American people before 1900, if you look at photos of them, they're extremely dark-skinned people, especially on the West Coast, like in California. The California Indians were very dark-skinned. The Indians that were around the Minnesota and Milwaukee area that we know as Milwaukee and Minnesota now, they were very dark-skinned people. The Native Americans on the East Coast were very dark-skinned people.
Teach 'em, pale-face brother, all about Red Man.
Good. This should be most enlightening. When did he first say,
When did he first say, oh? In the engine book it say, when first great marriage squaw. He went first great marriage squaw. He went first great marriage squaw.
So, y'all hear that? When did he first say, When the first say, In the engine book, it say when the first brave married the squaw.
He came out with deep big mouth when he saw his mother-in-law.
What makes the red man red?
What made the red man red? What made the red man red? Let's go back 1,000,000 years to the very first engine prince. He kissed a maid and started to blush, and we've all been blushing since.
I'm crazy.
No, wait, please.
Here they come.
Here, let me help you out of there.
Madakwe Natura.
You don't understand a word I'm saying, do you?
I'm gonna fast forward this part, y'all. Hold on.
It's all right. Who are you?
Pocahontas.
What? What did you say?
My name is Pocahontas.
I'm John Smith.
Pocahontas, an Indian princess, daughter of the chief Powhatan, and one of the most famous women in American history. One of the most famous women in American history. She was credited with having saved the life of Captain John Smith. There's a whole story behind this Pocahontas shit. I keep wanting to do a build on it, y'all. I'm gonna definitely get to it within the next 2 weeks. Because there's like way more to this whole Pocahontas stuff. But either way, Pocahontas' Indian name was Matokeo, meaning to play. She was very playful because of her fondness for playthings. John Smith, the pure white plaything. Her father called her Pocahontas, which had much the same meaning. She had been given the title princess by the English, who believed that all rulers of their kin were members of royalty. They believed, shit, they knew they was fucking royalty when they came and walked on the golden damn land. Stop playing. Either way, after Captain Smith left America and sailed for England in 1609, faith was not kept with the Indians as he had been promised, and Pocahontas was decoyed on board the ship of Captain Argyle and the Powhatan River and carried off to Jamestown. Here, Pocahontas was held as a hostage by the English prisoners in the hands of her father, Powhatan. But while on board the ship, she met John Rolfe, an Englishman, and the two fell in love. She fell in love with the people that done imprisoned her. Can y'all believe this bullshit? If anybody even believe that story is the truth, let me tell you. But either way, let's continue on with the fairy tale. With the permission of the Powhatans and the governor of Virginia, they were married in April of 1614. Pocahontas was converted to Christianity. She was then converted. She was married to John Rolfe and then converted to Christianity and baptized under the name of the Lady Rebecca. Keep that in mind. Remember this. This is going to come up this week in the story with Rebecca, Miss Lady Rebecca. Okay. The marriage brought about peace with the Indians. It brought peace. So soon when she married, now listen to this. Now, mind you, she's the princess. She's the princess, and here comes this John Rolfe. She's married herself off. She didn't marry herself off. They married her ass off to this man. Now, with her being the princess, that gives him some type of rulership over the land, right? So now, once he has a rulership over the land, immediately goes into the property being transferred to, whoever he sees fit, him making decisions on, who's going to come over and, create a plantation here or either create a reservation, depending on where they're getting the people from. They're going to bring the people in, have them do the farming and shit so they can start making this money, doing this trading. Listen, they had a whole damn plan. So either way, the young couple was several members of Pocahontas' tribe sailed for England 2 years later. The king and the queen received Pocahontas as a princess, as a princess. Okay, now check this out. The following year, she started back to America, but was taken ill at Graveland in England, where she died and was buried. So she get over there with them. They done got this rulership. They done swapped off shit. We rule in this area, that area. We doing this. We making decisions. She get them. They get her over here, where her away from her family. Across the waters in another township, Seneca Township. And when she get over there, now she end up dying. Okay, this healthy ass damn princess just died out the fucking blue. But either way, that's another story. Let's go. The following year, she started back to marry. She was buried. Okay, Pocahontas and Rolfe had one son who was Thomas Rolfe, who settled in Virginia and from whom many prominent Virginians claim descent. Among them, John Randolph and Roanoke. Pocahontas' name is preserved in that of towns in Virginia, in Arkansas, and Illinois. Keep this in mind with Pocahontas. This is all the same area. Remember, I was telling you guys, this is all this area, Seneca Township. A lot of this stretched over. They have rulership in so many areas. Okay, in Iowa and in Tennessee, right? Okay, these are the great founding areas in in the United States that are well known. Okay, the counties in Iowa and West Virginia, you can see Smith Powhatan Smith Squad man and woman to get more information on it.
Only when the fighting stops can you be together.
Only when the fighting stops can y'all be together.
Let's go talk to you.
Well, did y'all being together stop the fighting? Let's get it together. Peace, brother. Peace, Keith.
If you kill him, you'll have to kill me too.
Stop it. Stop with
I
all the
won't.
theatrics.
I love him, Father.
Peace, twin.
Here is the answer. 3 generations. Half-blood grandmother, quadroon daughter, octoroon grandson. Now, as you can see in the 3rd generation, or 3rd cross, no trace of native origin is apparent. The continuing infiltration of white blood finally stamps out the black color. The Aboriginal has simply been bred out.
If we can't get them out, we'll breed them out.
1895, 1896, when a lot of the whites found out the benefits that these blacks are going to be entitled to, a lot of whites went to the Dawes Commission and say, look, why don't you put my name on there? They said, but you're not an Indian. So that's what they said, well, I'll give you $5. So the rule got around, the policy got around that for $5 that a white could put his name on the Dawes rolls.
And they're doing it right now.
Indian.
They're doing it
And
right
be
now.
entitled all these benefits,
Yeah.
and all their children can be entitled
You
to
know, all the
forever.
benefits. You ain't
And
getting
so
nothing.
that became known as what's called a $5 Indian.
Yeah.
And so if you go around now and check most of the Indians, the so-called Indians in America, about 90% of them are not even Indians. Those are just whites now who are passing as Indians. But they're getting all the benefits. And they're not paying any taxes, getting free college education. They put up a little
The
reservation
kids
on
get
land
it.
that they don't live on. They have another home off.
Oh,
They
yeah.
get all kind of benefits.
All kind of benefits.
Right from the headland, the real true story of the Red Man, no matter what's been written or said. Now you know I'm the Red Man,
America, the African American doesn't think. The African American doesn't have their own spiritual ideology. The African American American doesn't train his kids themselves. The African American doesn't build their own cars. The African American doesn't build their own houses. The African American doesn't get his own food. The African American doesn't make his own clothes. The African American doesn't make his own toothpaste. The African American doesn't do anything but ask, "What you got for me, boss?" That's how you know they're not made of nature. They are a creation of another man.
You basically turned a man into a dog.
Well, that's like my sainted mum used to say, get me young enough, and the possibilities are endless.
All these other ideologies that we are transfixed on, they come from the other side of the world, where all of those immigrants, where they done tore up where they live, they come over here and try to get your inheritance, and you, being a dumbass on purpose, because many of you know who play that African role, because we see how you take the information that we put out and try to put it into what you're doing. It won't work, dude. It won't work. You're a Hebrew Israelite, and you're trying to put the indigenous people into the Hebrew narrative. It won't work. You're just going to cause more confusion. You can't take the indigenous paradigm here and mix it into the Moorish paradigm. All you're going to do is cause confusion, which is what you're doing. You can't take the indigenous people here and try to mix them up with an African paradigm. It won't work. And this is what you do.
What's up, YouTube? This is something that's been on my heart for a long time. You know, all I ever wanted to be in life was a super.
More Brew Egyptian.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You know, during that time of meditation and just thinking about it, I realized something. All of that is possible and more. It's all in here. It's all in your mind. Think about anything that you ever tried to do. You thought to yourself, man, I could never do that. But then when you practiced it, guess what? You got better at it and you actually achieved it, didn't you? It's the same thing when you look at superpowers. Of course, it sounds absurd when you first look at it, but if you try it, you know, if you actually set your mind to it and believe, you can achieve it. I feel like anything that you set your mind to, your mind will, your mind can create that force, because your mind is just this powerful machine that is, whatever you set it to and you believe and you work towards achieving it, you can do it.
Preach, baby, from the mouth.
And I believe I can be a super saiyan.
More Brew Egyptian.
He telling the truth. That baby
exposing this side of me to the world. And I know a lot of y'all laughing, but people who really, that are on my level of intellect, they understand what I'm saying, and thank y'all for understanding. And, I'm going to attempt to go super.
More Brew Egyptian.
I'm going to upload it to YouTube.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. This is my first attempt. Now I'm believing, and I'm going to create that energy and channel through my mind. I'm going to turn the music on. All right.
Look at this.
He
Somebody
tripping
come look
now.
at this.
I don't know what this guy doing. Well, he building up his superpowers, I guess. I'm so bad. Oh, Lord. We don't even take all that, Lord. Meditate, guys. Use your left and right brain. That's a whole nother level. Child, you doing too much. I'm done. I gotta fast forward that part.
The question, you were saying something about your teacher said that we were all Indians, or you Indian?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We were learning about wampum.
I'm so done. He was doing way too much for me.
They had feathers on their heads just like you did.
Okay, so they didn't tell you anything about being from Africa or anything. This school was teaching that you was an Indian, and
okay, school.
More different things.
Mm.
And yes, they taught us like we were Indians too.
Mm.
But it was rude to say Indians because it was disrespectful to them. So we call us African Americans.
Okay.
But it was rude to say Indians because it was disrespectful to them. So we call us African Americans. But it was rude to say Indians because it was disrespectful to them. So we call us African Americans.
Oh, okay. But you know for a fact that they told you that you were the original Indian.
Yeah.
Okay.
They told him he was the
Indian,
original Indian.
I'm from the third, and I go to Haley Elementary School located in Boston.
All right.
In Boston.
I'm a Power 10, I'm a Eastwood lad, Indian and original, all American. My skin color is tan, man. You can say it's brown and just look at my head, one side shade round. Look at me now, my body marked up, red paint on my face, no clothes on my butt. What? Nah, deer skin cover up, my bow on my side. I let the arrow glide. I'm a hunter, a farmer, a fisherman. Everything that I need, I get from the land. I make my own clothes, my own weapons too. When you see the moccasins, then I'm stepping through. I'm a power 10. I'm a power 10. I'm a Eastwood lad, Indian and original, American. I'm ruling everything. That's right. Call me the big chief. Power 10. Everybody else is beneath. All the villages, each and every tribe. I make the laws. I control if you live or die. The chiefs under me, they collect the tax. Animals skin bees while I just relax. Elected deer and turkey, put them in the temple. Power 10 government is just that simple. I'm a power 10. 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 I'm a Eastwood land, Indian. Let me break it down so you understand. Man, I was very young. That's right. When I took my spouse, she cooked my meals. We built my longhouse. From jewelry to pottery, we got art. True. Even kids do it big. Yeah, we work hard. I just play too. That's right. Games just like you. Wrestling, foot race. We're very musical. We like to sing and dance, party and clap our hands. Celebrating life. I'm like a power 10.
It's my birthday, y'all. I'm gonna have to run this back, y'all. I gotta run that back real quick. Just this part, y'all. We just got to run that back. I'm sorry. Y'all can go get a drink or something. I got to run back to the beginning for my little man. Come on, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, and original, all American. My skin color is tan, man. You can say it's brown and just look at my head, one side shade round. Look at me now, my body marked up, red paint on my face, no clothes on my butt. What? Nah, deer skin cover up, my bow on my side. I let the arrow glide. I'm a hunter, a farmer, a fisherman. Everything that I need, I get from the land. I make my own clothes, my own weapons too. When you see the moccasins, then I'm stepping through. I'm a power 10.
You said, when you said that Martha King, then I'm stepping through. Hey.
I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Eastwood lad, Indian and original American. I'm ruling everything. That's right. Call me the big chief. Yeah. Powhatan, everybody else is beneath. All the villages, each and every tribe. I make the laws, I control if you live or die. The chiefs under me, they collect the tax. Animals skin bees while I just relax. Collecting deer and turkey, put them in the temple. Powhatan government is just that simple.
Just that simple.
I'm a Powhatan. I'm a Powhatan. I'm a Powhatan. I'm a Powhatan. I'm a Powhatan.
We cool, sis. Oh my gosh, I'm over here getting it.
I'm a Eastwood land Indian. Let me break it down so you understand. Man, I was very young when I took my spouse. Yeah, she cooked my meals, she built my longhouse. From jewelry to pottery, we got art. True, even kids do it big. Yeah, we work hard, but we play too. That's right. Games just like you, wrestling, foot race. Yeah, we very musical. We like to sing and dance, party and clap our hands. Celebrating life, I'm like a Powhatan.
Y'all lucky I ain't watching this by myself because I done ran it back one more time. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh my gosh, that was like the best part of all this so far.
Kneeling to that flag, like I have no African descendant in my blood. I'm a Native American. So literally, I'm a Cherokee, I'm a Blackfoot, I'm a Red-tailed Indian. That's
this nigga talking about Native American. Either way, we'll take that.
Somebody to say and tell me not to kneel. You crazy.
Right, Beth.
Like,
right,
crazy.
Beth.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people in America is indigenous.
Made my day.
But that's a whole nother conversation. Like, that's crazy, man. For you to tell somebody like, yo, stand up to this flag.
It was a run it back.
That's like he's like, yo, accept crack in your neighborhood. What you know what this crack did to our neighborhood? Like, how could you accept that? That's crazy. In all due respect to every race, niggas know black people don't crack. Like black don't crack.
Yeah, black don't crack. That was
y'all said run it back again. Ooh, see, you don't. I seen one person. I said, see, they gonna be like, sis tripping.
You can say a native, and he could be 90 years old.
Guys, for the encouragement, because I was so ready.
The natives.
I almost thought about
when it comes to
yeah, and original. Yo, I learned a lot about Powhatan in this culture. I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Eastwood lad, Indian and original American. My skin color is tan, man. You can say it's brown and just look at my hair, one side shade round. Look at me now, my body marked up, red paint on my face, no clothes on my butt. What? Nah, deer skin cover up, a bow on my side. I let the arrow glide. I'm a hunter, a farmer, a fisherman. Everything that I need, I get from the land. I make my own clothes, my own weapons too. When you see the moccasins, then I'm stepping through. I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Powhatan, I'm a Eastwood lad, Indian and original American. I'm ruling everything. That's why I call me the big chief. Powhatan, everybody else is beneath. All the villages, each and every tribe. I make the laws, I control if you live or die. The chiefs under me, they collect the tax. Animals skin bees while I just relax. Collecting deer and turkey, put them in the temple. Powhatan government is just that simple. I'm a Powhatan, 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 I'm a Eastwood land Indian. Let me break it down so you understand. Man, I was very young. That's right. When I took my spouse, she cooked my meals, she built my longhouse. From jewelry to pottery, we got art. True, even kids do it big, yeah, we work hard. But we play too. That's right. Games just like you. Like wrestling, foot race. Yeah. We're very musical. We like to sing and dance, party and clap our hands. Celebrating life, I'm like a power tan.
Yeah. Let's go. Drop the mic.
Crazy, man. For you to tell somebody like, yo, stand up to this flag. Nigga, you know what this flag does? It's like you like, yo, accept crack in your neighborhood. What, nigga, you know what this crack did to our neighborhood? Like, how could you accept that? That's crazy. In all due respect to every race, niggas know black people don't crack. Like black don't crack.
Yeah, black don't crack. That was
yeah.
What's it inconsistent?
Well, indigenous don't crack. The natives don't crack.
The natives.
Well, indigenous don't crack. The natives don't crack.
The natives don't.
You can
crack.
say a native and he could be
Indigenous, Aboriginal, Indian, that part.
I'm talking for the natives.
Yeah.
I like when
it comes to talking about African Americans, I have no education with that. Period. I don't. I'm not even connecting to that. No more.
Disassociated from that shit.
That's like connecting. Say, hey, he's a bad guy. You don't hang with him.
Right.
Oh, hey, I'm gonna find out for myself. Not African American at all. My folks is not from Africa, and a lot of people in this room, folks ain't from Africa. Might be a couple, but people just don't understand. Ask my grandma, like, Grandma, what's your background? She like Redfoot and Blacktail Indian. What? Yeah, my mother and my father did. We 100% Indians.
What?
That's my other grandma. We got
y'all is too stupid.
And Italian, a little Dominican. It's crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? That's why I'm African. Y'all look at me funny, like, nigga, I'm African. Like, you're not though. Like, you're not. 80% of slaves was already here. It was natives. It's crazy.
Hey, where you get that number from?
Shit, I just checked the books.
Which book?
Check the book.
I got a whole laptop full of this shit.
Big time one.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
for me reading. It's not a solid book like, hey, it's only 1,000 slaves came here. And nah, nigga, you gotta read. You have to literally read. Like, I'm so deep into it, I don't think about a slave ship. I think about what was a slave ship called? Jesus. What the fuck was a slave ship called that Christopher Columbus was on? Who funded that slave ship? Who paid for that boat? Like, what was these folks' race? Like, what was their background?
What they come here for?
So, Walker, that's interesting.
Y'all, what y'all reading over here?
I'm just, it's like a why. It's not like I'm chastising. It's like why.
No, that's interesting because when it comes to you're addressing identity, right?
So you're familiar with that boat, right?
I'm not familiar with the boat exact that you're referencing, but I am.
The slave boat, the first slave boat.
Oh yeah, the slave boat. Yeah, for sure.
Who paid for the slave boat?
That was from the Europeans in terms of
what
the
was their
colonization.
ethnicity? What was their ethnicity?
There was Germans. There was individuals.
What was their ethnicity that paid for that boat? That built that boat and that voiced that boat? And
who are the people who built the boat or who paid for the boat to be built?
It's in the books. It's just it's in the books. I'm not going to say shit because
we got to specify which boat.
Yeah,
and from which
boat
part of the
country Columbus was on. The boat that y'all
let's
celebrated.
look it up. Yeah.
Check this out, dude.
Who the Spanish?
King Henry.
But we gonna get to it. I don't
Okay.
really do it like that. Like, trust me, it's deep. It's deep, bro.
But the question I have for you in regards to identity, then, some
right
call
now,
African Americans, some report to call as Black. So with you saying you're not African American, you're more of the indigenous, your grandmother and your grandparents from the Native American tribes. Do you address yourself as Native American? Do you address yourself as Black? Do you address yourself as African American?
I'm other.
So you're other.
I'm uneducated. I'm uneducated. So for me to sit here like a college professor, I'm wrong. I'm uneducated. I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? But I'm damn sure not Black. You're not gonna call me Black. My grandmother's not Crayola. Like,
so
no,
then
I'm connected to a tribe. I'm from a tribe, not a country.
Connected.
Big difference.
To
Different laws.
Waka.
Big difference.
I'm trying to remember what his name was. Thank you for went in on it. Yeah, technically. Yeah, make sure y'all check out the brother channel. Fire. Let's see.
So ask your mother, ask your grandmother, if your great grandmother's still with us, and a lot of us are. Ask her who her grandmother was, and she's gonna tell you she's an Indian woman.
If you did, I'm not the quarter. I think we watched this one, rewind.
Pro-slavery propaganda called our ancestors stupid, brutish, humble, and obedient to the whip. They said they lacked courage, but slaves revolted in most places. Sometimes, they murdered their masters and overseers. Much more often, they ran away in outlaw communities of escaped slaves, called maroon communities, and returned to plot revenge. They planned rebellions across America. According to history experts, there are records of around 250 revolts and conspiracies in the history of African American slavery. Some scholars have found as many as 313. And although most slave revolts failed, some shook the system of the New World to its core, and they deserve special attention. Here are the biggest slave rebellions in the African diaspora. Before we get into it, here's a black card. We're going to list 10 rebellions in this video. If you know at least 6 out of 10 of them, you get to keep it. If not, then it gets revoked. Starting at number 10, we have the Slave Rebellion at San Miguel de Gualdape. Gold mines in the Americas were rare, but the notion that this new world was full of riches lasted for years. Kings and queens wanted to fill their treasuries with valuable stones, silver, gold, and all sorts of other.
Real quick, because I cannot do this right now. I'm gonna get to another video. So what I'm gonna do is play a video of a wonderful sponsor. Okay. I want you guys to watch this while I get this other thing together. This will be take a moment. Thank you. Don't come here with that shit. Is it skipping? Is it skipping, guys? Real tight, guys. Anybody that has a business and you're doing anything, if you want some great professional help and get some things going, go right ahead and check the site out. Tell me if it was skipping because I can definitely play it again for you guys. Did it skip? No skipping? Okay. Thank you, brother. Did it one yes, one no. Did anybody else have a problem with it skipping? Or did you guys get a chance to see it? This is the site, guys. Go check it out. This is the sponsor that has been that does some great job work, actually. Let me just say that. You guys know I wouldn't be representing nothing that, not official. Let's start there. Thank you, Redskin. We'll play it again either way before we get out of here. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, if it was skipping, guys, we'll make sure it's playing good then. But yeah, let's do this. We're gonna get back. Okay. Get back to our watch party before we get to any reads. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. My Lord, did I lose the window? Here I go. Doing 20 things at one time.
In 18th, 19th, and 20th century Europe, Black women aristocrats belonging to nobility lived in various European countries. However, when you research about them, you will find even the most credible sources showing them as white. The paintings and historical records suggest that all European queens and princesses were white, but the truth is quite the opposite. Today, we know that various European women aristocrats, princesses, and queens were Black, which you should know about. In this video, we will tell you how Europe hid its history and whitewashed it by showing the Black women of nobility as white. Watch the video until the very end, because this is going to change how you think about European royal families and aristocrats. Let's get started. Number 1, Queen Charlotte of Great Britain, Sophie. Charlotte was born in the Duchy of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, now part of modern-day Germany. She was the daughter of Duke Charles Louis Frederick of Mecklenburg-Strelitz and Princess Elizabeth Albertine of Saxe-Hildburghausen. Even though her family's lineage connects to various European noble houses, her genetic roots lie in Africa. Queen Charlotte married King George III and served as the Queen Consort of Great Britain and Ireland. As Queen Consort, Sophie Charlotte occupied a distinguished position within the British royal family and European nobility. She held the title Her Majesty the Queen and gracefully fulfilled ceremonial duties and social responsibilities befitting her esteemed status. However, she was not from the white European aristocracy of that time. Rather, her genetic roots were African, and so was her complexion. Even if every historical source shows her as white, she was black in reality, and this is proven by the accounts of people who met and explained her features. Some art historians and researchers have pointed to features in portraits of Queen Charlotte that show her African heritage, such as her facial characteristics and skin tone. Furthermore, certain 18th century artworks portray her with what can be perceived as features not typically associated with European heritage because she really had African roots. One particularly notable piece of evidence comes from a 1773 letter written by Lord Chesterfield, a British nobleman. In this letter, Chesterfield made comments about the Queen's appearance, stating, "Her nose and chin are very large, and if she was not as black as a coal, she would be ugly." It's important to recognize that this statement reflects the perceptions of beauty and racial descriptors of that era, which differed from contemporary understandings. Yet this proves Queen Charlotte was not white. Another historical account comes from Ignatius Sancho, a former slave who became a writer and correspondent in 18th century England. In a letter to the Duke of Montagu, Sancho mentioned Queen Charlotte as having a true mulatto face. Some have interpreted this reference as potential confirmation of Queen Charlotte's African ancestry. Now, it's quite clear that Queen Charlotte's grandmother, Sophie, had African heritage through her maternal line. Sophie's mother, Margaretha von der Sale, was of African origin, suggesting that this lineage contributed to Sophie Charlotte's physical appearance. Queen Sophie Charlotte was celebrated for her love of arts and sciences. She ardently supported the works of German composer Johann Christian Bach and maintained a personal orchestra at her court. Number 2, Dido Elizabeth Bell. Dido Elizabeth Bell was born in 1761 in the West Indies. She was the daughter of Sir John Lindsay, a British naval officer, and an African woman, Maria Bell, who had been enslaved on a British ship. After she was born, Dido was brought to England, most likely by her father, and joined the European aristocracy while being a black woman. She was placed under the care of her great-uncle, William Murray, the first Earl of Mansfield, and his wife, Lady Elizabeth Murray. Dido held an exceptional place in British society during that time. She grew up as a companion to her cousin, Lady Elizabeth Murray, and were both raised in the Mansfield household. This situation was uncommon because Dido had African ancestry, and racial bias was prevalent in 18th century England. Dido's great-uncle, Lord Mansfield, was a significant figure within the British legal system. He eventually rose to become the Lord Chief Justice of England. It should be noted that her rulings in some pivotal legal cases had significant consequences for the movement to abolish slavery in England. One such case was the well-known Somerset v. Stewart case in 1772. In this instance, Lord Mansfield's decision declared that slavery couldn't be upheld by English common law. While this ruling didn't directly put an end to slavery in England, it marked a notable stride toward its eventual demise. Dido's presence within the Mansfield household and the influence of her great-uncle's legal decisions are often regarded as a symbolic turning point in the struggle against slavery and racial prejudice in Britain. Her life has served as inspiration for novels, films, and documentaries. The 2013 film Belle, directed by Ama Asante, delves into her story and her position within British society. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Number 3, Sarah Forbes Bonetta. In 1843, Sarah Forbes Bonetta was born in what is now Nigeria, bearing the name Omoba Aina. Tragically, her parents were captured in a slave hunting raid when she was just a child. During one of these brutal assaults, she was seized by the king of Dahomey, in modern-day Benin. The year 1850 marked a turning point for Sarah Forbes Bonetta when she was presented as a gift to Captain Frederick E. Forbes, a British naval officer during his diplomatic mission to Dahomey. Captain Forbes was profoundly moved by the heart-wrenching circumstances of Sarah's life and resolved to bring her to England. Upon her arrival in England, Sarah was bestowed as a gift to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. The royal couple, known for their staunch abolitionist stance, were deeply touched by her tale and took on the roles of her godparents. Queen Victoria conferred upon her the name Sarah Forbes Bonetta, adding Forbes in honor of the naval officer who had rescued her and Bonetta from the name of his ship, the HMS Bonetta. Sarah Forbes Bonetta had the rare privilege of receiving an education in England, an extraordinary opportunity for an African girl of her time. She was added to the European aristocracy, having close ties with the British royal family. She was introduced to high society, partook in social events, and even acquired musical skills. It's because Queen Victoria showed a keen interest in her upbringing. In 1862, Sarah married James Pinson Labulo Davies, a prosperous Yoruba businessman who also hailed from African royalty. Sarah Forbes Bonetta Davies made numerous journeys to Africa throughout her life. Her husband's involvement in trade between Britain and West Africa resulted in their residencies in various locales, including Lagos, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone at different junctures. Number 4, Queen Ranavalona III. Queen Ranavalona III's status in the European aristocracy is quite unique. Born in 1861 as Razafindra Haiti, Ranavalona III belonged to the Merina ethnic group, which held sway over the central highlands of Madagascar. Her mother, Princess Rahela Soa, placed her under the care of Queen Ranavalona II and King Rasoherina since they had no other heirs. This decision paved the path for her eventual accession to the throne. In 1883, after the passing of Queen Ranavalona II, Ranavalona III ascended to the throne at the age of 22. Her reign unfolded during a challenging period when European powers, particularly France, were in contention for control over Madagascar. Throughout her reign, Ranavalona III enjoyed international recognition as the legitimate ruler of Madagascar. She held the title of Queen of Madagascar, and her sovereignty was diplomatically acknowledged despite the creeping influence of colonial powers, notably France, on Madagascar's self-governance. Ranavalona III's reign was marred by substantial difficulties. European colonial powers, with France at the forefront, sought to extend their dominion over Madagascar, eventually leading to the island's colonization. Despite her persistent efforts to negotiate and preserve Madagascar's independence, political tensions with France escalated. In 1895, through the Treaty of Betsileo, Ranavalona III was compelled to abdicate her throne, resulting in Madagascar becoming a French colony. Both she and her husband, Prime Minister Rainilea Rivoni, were exiled to the French-controlled island of Reunion, unwillingly becoming members of the European aristocracy. Since her country was invaded and became a French colony, she had to move to France and live like a political exile. But this made her French nobility. Number 5, Princess Theresa of Saxe-Hildburghausen. Princess Theresa was born in Meiningen, Germany, as the daughter of Frederick, Duke of Saxe-Altenburg, and Duchess Charlotte Georgine of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Princess Theresa of Saxe-Hildburghausen's African heritage traces back through her maternal lineage. Her grandmother, Princess Charlotte of Hesse-Darmstadt, was the daughter of Prince George William of Hesse-Darmstadt and Maria Louise Albertine of Leiningen-Falkenberg-Dagsburg. Maria Louise Albertine possessed a mixed-race background, with African ancestry coursing through her maternal line. This African lineage gave Princess Theresa a distinctive black complexion and traits. However, if you see her paintings, she was always shown as white, hiding the black traits she held. In the year 1810, Princess Theresa exchanged vows with Ludwig Friedrich Alexander, the Prince of Thurn and Taxis. The Thurn and Taxis family, renowned for their postal services, held a prominent place in the German nobility. Hence, Princess Theresa became a member of the German elite class and enjoyed a privileged life. Assuming the title of Princess of Thurn and Taxis as the wife of a prince, Princess Theresa occupied a position of profound respect and influence within European nobility. Her status as a gentlewoman wasn't solely a consequence of her marriage. It was also rooted in her familial ties to other European royal families. Princess Theresa and her husband moved within the elite social and cultural circles of European nobility, and Princess Theresa became a member of the German aristocracy for the rest of her life. Did you know that Europe hid its black women of nobility? Isn't it true that the historic paintings we see today were actually painted to show black women of nobility as white? Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments section right below. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Slave trade and profited from it. The government also announced a fund of more than 200 million unprecedented wealth in the Dutch Republic, when artists such as Rembrandt van Rijn and Johannes Vermeer painted masterpieces and intellectual life flourished in cities like Amsterdam and Delft. But this glittery phrase obscures a dark truth. Many of the Republic's wealthiest residents made their fortunes through the enslavement, sale, and exploitation of African people. However, unlike the Portuguese, the Spanish, Britain, the French, and the USA, whose involvement in the barbaric act of the slave trade is well known.
No, we ain't gonna do this. We ain't gonna do this. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Excuse me. I'm gonna go to the Sophia, talk about a little like more intense stuff. We're always talking about this stuff. We're gonna get back to that when I start reading, but I'm gonna show a little of the video. One is a video we were just talking one day, and I said, "Oh, let's do a video that because I had an interview coming up on my radio show." So I said, "Let's go on YouTube and do the thing, you know." So we were just talking a little. She said some very interesting things that stuff I like talking about. So we're gonna get into that. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. One video is pretty long, but one I'll play a little bit of. Ab came up to ask some questions on certain things and so on and so forth. So let me see. Okay, here it is. This is the short one. This was only like talking about, her coming on there. All right, here we go. Peace to everybody coming in the chat, beautiful people. I'm going to share this and I will get right to the chat. Okay, to remind you of this stream that's going on this afternoon. We're going to be speaking with Sophia Stewart on the main radio. And basically, we'll be going over a lot of things. I just wanted to make you guys privy of the information and what's going on. We'll be talking about her United States Court District hearing. And let's see, what else are we talking about? She did have a hearing in the District of Utah. Some of the discussions upon court trials, so on and so forth. So we're going to be discussing that. We're going to also be talking about her vision of this Matrix 4 movie, and also the fact that we've seen so many different I guess they're promos or pitches for the movie. And with the pitches, they're not really showing or letting you see what's going on as far as like them being able to promote it properly. Looks a little bit like a John Wick movie versus Matrix. With some of these promos, there have been like so many different trailers for the Matrix and it still had to come out. It's just like really weird. I want to ask Ms. Sophia about that. It's like, why are we seeing so many trailers and there hasn't been a movie yet? We want to find out a little bit about that, get a little information, on that. We're going to be talking about some of the articles that were published. The books thing with that. We can, kind of discuss that. The Third Eye Matrix, the Mother of the Matrix book. Let's see. Where's Sophia? Is this one? I think that you, darling. I know I'm already. Yeah, this is real short, actually. Even get a notification. I got it late, actually, but it was like phenomenal. Oh, there's Miss Stewart, guys. Hold on. Let me turn my camera on because she has it on.
This is my first time ever using this, so
yes.
Sorry about that, everyone. It took me like 5 or 10 minutes to try to work it out, but as you can see, I worked it out and everything is fine.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for joining me, Sophia. I appreciate you, darling. I know I'm already going to be taking up some of your time this evening, so I really appreciate your time, babe. I just wanted to, bring you on real quick and just to let people know to look forward to all this information. I know we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I think sometimes when people hear your name, they always think, oh, the Matrix, the lady with the Matrix stuff, because of course you're mother of the Matrix. But
Well,
there's so much more to
not,
you.
I'm much more than mother of the Matrix. I'm not. That's a tagline. I'm really the creator and owner of the Matrix Terminator. But I don't know why everybody want to use the tagline. I guess the rappers, they made that tagline, so their tagline so big. So hey,
Right. Well, great. Well, what I wanted to do, I just wanted to make sure that they know that Sophia Stewart is not just the creator of the Matrix. There's a lot more to you. Just knowing a little bit about the person you are. I think it's important for people to understand your background. You like just being pretty much an oracle from your youth. Advancing yourself at a young age. Things of that nature. I just wanted people to know a lot more about you. So just kind of briefly let them know the things we'll be talking about this evening on the show.
Oh, it's going to be an excellent show. You guys can ask me anything you want. I created the Matrix and Terminator, and I own it. Matrix, the first Matrix won 4 Oscars. Those Oscars belong to me. They're mine. And a lot of people need to know there's a lot of haters online trying to smear me and malign me. But I won 7 years ago. September 25th, 2014, in the Utah federal courts. Anybody can call the courts and check out these documents and ask me for the documents. So go on my website and look at the stuff. But you need to stop hating because I won. You need to get the Matrix War book. It's very important. That is the 4th installment of the Matrix, not a resurrection or a resuscitation of something dead. How can you carry on something dead and resuscitate something 22 years ago? The Blue Pill and John Wick. That's all that is. That's John Wick and the Blue Pill and John Wick coming into power, where they're just trying to rebrand John Wick as the new Matrix franchise. That's right. John Wick is due to come out that same time that they're giving you the date of the movie. No movie on the Matrix will come out. Just John Wick rebranded as the Matrix franchise.
That's what they're doing. They're trying to find another way to finagle like the Matrix, presenting it as the Matrix, but they're actually doing another John Wick film because they can't actually use the Matrix.
Exactly. And so what they're hoping to do is to pick up all the 2 to 3 billion Matrix fans and bring them over to John Wick. That's what they're trying to do, rebrand. And they think they're very clever. That's why they put Lawrence Fishburne in there. That's why they had the lady in red. And of course, Halle Berry is Sophia. Hi, Sophia. John Wick. Look at John Wick Part 3. Halle Berry is Sophia with Keanu Reeves. And he got the Matrix outfit on. He's got motorcycle scenes and stuff right out of the 4th installment of the book, The Matrix 4 Evolution. The first Matrix is The Matrix. The second is The Rebellion Reloaded. The third is Revolution. And the 4th is Evolution, where the machines evolve into a greater threat that Neo has to take on. And then you notice if you see in the trailer of the resurrection of the resuscitation is John Wick going to see a psychiatrist. Not the Oracle, a psychiatrist.
So they had to even change that part up a bit, making that, more. Let's kind of try a little bit of the truth with the lie and just switch this up like they do everything.
Exactly. And it's not even the logo. If you look at the logo, it's a green tin, it's a recipe. And it's not the binary codes of the 1 and 0 like in the Matrix.
It's a recipe. Oh, that's so they really just
look at the so-called logo on the trailer. That is not the real logo. All the fans were saying it. It's talking about letters like a recipe, and it doesn't have the green tint or the binary codes of the 1 and the 0. And if you go back and look at John Wick 2 and 3, you see nothing but Matrix. You see the pyramids and him crossing the sand. Do you see it like in the third eye? You know what I'm talking about? The first book where it all began.
Yes. I didn't see the John Wick.
Yeah, well, the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator End Time Revelations, Matrix, a 7,000-year-old Latin word for the woman's womb, her stargate, her portal, to bring you into this earthly dimension called the earth.
That's
this
right.
Earthly experience. And it's like the eye of God, the third eye, because on earth we have two eyes. But in the heavens is an all-knowing, all-seeing eye of God. So in the Matrix, it's talking about the third eye, the eye of God, the message of God, to take people out of bondage, out of the programming, out of the ignorance, out of the lies, into reality. So you're going from a program to the real world program. And as you can see with the trailer, there is no Agent Smith whatsoever.
So it's not even Agent Smith. I've heard about the trailer. I haven't even seen the most recent trailer, Sophia, but I've definitely heard about it.
Well,
I'm gonna look.
Some young guy, they call it a young Morpheus, teaching John Wick to come into power, to take the blue pill to come into power. The Matrix is about the red and the blue pill. You take the red pill, you see how deep the rabbit hole goes. You find out the truth. You take the blue pill, you go to sleep and just deal with the lie and stay in ignorance.
So a choice in the matter. This is awesome. This is awesome. Sophia, I didn't want to take too much of your time this morning, sweetheart. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes to let them know what to look forward to this evening. We will definitely be back live, guys, with Miss Sophia Stewart at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you look forward to a lot more in-depth information. She's such an open sweetheart. She's willing to, talk about a few things with us, just so we're clear on what's going on. There's been some things and like some defamation type of things toward her character and all of this. She's proven everything. She has documents on everything that she's won in her cases. So yeah, I just want you guys to get a very clear and astute vision of Miss Sophia Stewart and everything that's been going on with her accomplishments, everything that she's done, even when putting herself in a position to possibly have the story taken from her at that time when she was helping others. So I just think this is phenomenal. Hold on, let me stop this. We're going to get to the interview where she was spilling the beans on these Hollywood people. she was talking junk. Okay, hold on, let me find it. I have to go back to, I posted it this morning on my, or last night, I think. It's on my community tab too, guys. If you look for the video later, if you jump out and can't stay in or whatever. But if you want to see this interview, I did post it on the community tab last night or this morning. So you guys can go there and get the, and watch it if you want to see the full thing. I don't know, it seems like my internet lagging or something. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. Let me see. Don't even take me to the page. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, she talked a lot of junk. Okay, this is one. There's another one. That one's on there that she just was talking on. This one is the new one that she was on. I think this this is part 1. So there's another day we did another full one that was a good one. Other people joined as well. Okay, hold on, let me share. Get going. This one was great. Sophia is a sweetheart. There's some crazy stuff, but either way, she's a nice lady. We're gonna get going. Let's go. You are tuned into Sister Soul Talk About It segment, and we have a very, very, very special guest. Miss Sophia Stewart, the creator, the owner of Matrix and Terminator, the actual creator of the story. And we're going to get a bit into that, get into her journey as to her discovering that her story had actually been published and unbeknownst to her and a few other things. Her journey in recovering everything that was hers, basically. So to make sure that we get a little bit into that a little bit later, we're going to start off with getting to know a little bit about the Oracle, Miss Sophia. Miss Sophia has a very extensive background. She started off very young. She finished school early. She had a background in doing some professional things. Oh, can you dig it? Can you dig it in the house? What's up, family? What's up? Listen, y'all know I've shared this channel on my community page a couple of times. They are fantastic, a beautiful couple. Oh my gosh, beautiful family. They have done so much, so many places. Oh my gosh. I think we did an interview a couple of months back. If we didn't, sister, remind me. But we did an interview on here. They were talking about some things. Hopefully they'll come back. They busy, they do a lot. Talking about some things. Maybe we can talk a little bit about some law stuff. They've been showing some things with this gentleman, Dave. He's fantastic when it comes to the court stuff. I'm trying to get in touch with him since remember, oh man. But yeah, because the court stuff, I'm really not I know, and I have a lot of information, but I'm not very, very familiar. But I definitely need to get on point with that. A little more fluent with it. So yeah, but definitely guys, find them on my community tab, go follow them, from the link, so on and so forth. They are awesome. Definitely some real information. People I deal with, y'all already know it's got to be real. So anyway, let's get back to it. Peace and bliss. Maybe they'll come up after this, and we could share a couple things or something, but we'll see. All right, guys, let's go. And during her college years and so on and so forth. We're going to let you guys get a little bit into that because I want you to understand that this is just not an author or, a person that just wrote a book. There's a story behind it. There's a story behind her writing this Matrix and seeing the vision, but it was not called the Matrix per se. This was her vision, and it was turned into someone else's vision and taken over. So we'll get into that. But I'm gonna introduce you guys to Miss Sophia Stewart. Sophia, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you? Your mic's muted, darling. Something's going on with your sound, Sophia. We can't hear you. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me take you out and put you back in the stream, dear. See if that happens. Just one moment. Let's see, guys. Give it a moment. Maybe having some technical difficulties. Sophia? All right, I do apologize, guys. She is new to using the StreamYard platform, and she'll be coming back in just a moment. I appreciate your guys' patience. What we're gonna do is get you started with a little bit of music. Let's do that. Play a song. Give Miss Sophia time to get herself together.
On roughly probably about a good 18 Matrix and Terminator book. That's what it's called, The Third Eye, Matrix and Terminator. The third eye, because on Earth we have two eyes, but there's the all-seeing eye of God. And of course, the Matrix, the woman's womb, where God's children come out of, versus man's lab rats, the machines. Because what I wrote was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. But I wrote it in science fiction form. And I want to tell people, do not call me no Miss. It's Ms., but I don't even use that because I was married before, divorced. So my name is Sophia Stewart, and I would prefer that instead of any taglines. The rappers use the tagline, so that's good. That tags their music for you. But I'm an owner and a creator and an author and a producer, so I would like to use the titles that are given me. Yes, because I'm tired of the mass confusion and the ignorance. And if you want the fourth installment of The Matrix, and not a trailer, because the trailer is not going to give you anything, but the fourth installment of The Matrix is called Evolution, not Resurrection or Resuscitation. Resurrection and resuscitation is not a continuation of a story. It's something that a person is trying to do, trying to bring something dead back alive. The last Matrix movie was 18 to 19 years ago, 2003. That's 18 years ago. It's 2021, people. And then for the last 3 to 4 years, they've been telling you a Matrix movie is coming. And you've seen a good roughly 20 trailers with the one out now. Go to YouTube and pull up the other 19 trailers talking about the fourth installment of The Matrix. It's been going on roughly probably about a good 18 years.
Fooling the masses once again.
Yeah, all it is what you see in the trailer, this last trailer, is a rebranding of the John Wick series into The Matrix, or the John Wick trilogy into The Matrix. That's why you see Lawrence Fishburne over there. That's why you see the lady in red. That's why you see Sophia in the third one. Go and pull up the trailer, the third John Wick, and John Wick is talking to Sophia. That acknowledgement is to all tie everything into the Matrix. And he's dressed like in the Matrix, not in the beginning in the third one. But as you get into the movie, he started putting on his Matrix gear. Now, if you look at the resurrection trailer of the resuscitation, trying to resuscitate something that's dead because they can't carry it on, all you see is John Wick coming into power, John Wick being taught by some young guy, John Wick heads being examined by a psychiatrist and not talking to the Oracle. There's no Oracle, there's no logo. When you look at the logo, there's no green tent, there's nothing but a recipe. The binary codes of the machines are the 1 and the 0. So I don't know. It's just a rebranding of the John Wick series, John Wick trilogy into the Matrix. You can look at the fanboys' comments about John Wick because they're not stupid. And by the way, did you put up my fourth installment book, which is the fourth installment of the Matrix?
I have the 3 books up. It's behind our picture, but they should be able to see it. I can pull that up. It'll be a link.
Pull up the fourth installment, Matrix 4 Evolution. That's the one they should buy. That's the one they should get into. That is the real fourth installment that fans have been reading for 11 years around the whole world since 2010. The book has been out selling globally since 2010, 11 years. Out in animation. No one needs to do a blockbuster movie that's going to cost anywhere from 150 million to 200 million during a pandemic, during a really serious pandemic. That's suicide. That's chaos. And so if you ask Tom Cruise, he'll tell you he lost, I think, $600,000 a day with the Mission Impossible because a couple of people got the corona on the set. He had to shut down for 2 weeks.
Wow. So you said it'll come out, Matrix 4 will actually be an animated movie?
Yes, it'll be animation because doesn't that make much sense? Because we're working on the animations now. It would make more sense for animation than it would a blockbuster movie because this is a blockbuster movie. You know what I'm talking about? When you read the fourth installment, have you read the fourth installment yet?
No, I started reading it.
Yeah, well then that's a blockbuster movie. So
just to clarify for everyone, so because it's your book, and even though they keep saying, oh, they're bringing out Matrix 4, they are not able to bring out the Matrix 4. You're actually bringing it out yourself, but you're presenting it as an animated movie.
No. I'm not presenting it as an animated movie. I am continuing my work as part of the copyright as animated. But when the pandemic has ceased, it is going to be a blockbuster movie. It's not going to be the rebranding of John Wick that you see in a trailer. Everybody knows that's not the Matrix. All the super fans have read the Matrix 4 Evolution book. Come on now. All the fans, when that book first came out, everybody needed to know who really created the Matrix. No, author is always going to continue their work. You can steal a Picasso right now and go erase Picasso's name and sell it for $100 million, but you can't paint another Picasso because you just lied. All you're going to do is try to copy the painting you found in the basement and keep trying to recopy it and redo it and rehash it until redundant. That's all, because you can't go forward. You can't eclipse it. You know, only the real person can. Because look, if Michael was alive, he's steadily eclipsing his work. He's a creator, or Prince, the late Prince. They are steadily eclipsing their work if they were alive. Now, all you can do is imitate Michael and Prince's old set from 20 or 30 years ago. Right now, if you did a Broadway play, if you did a movie, all you're gonna do is rehash Michael's old steps from 20 or 30 years ago, Prince's old steps. So you get what I'm talking about? You can't eclipse their work because you're not the creator. And who wants to see the old stuff when they want to see the new stuff? Because everybody wants the stuff to continue. They want newer, better, greater.
So it's going to be so the animation will be a continuum, but it'll just show it in a different light.
Yeah, it's just another derivative part from the copyrights. The derivatives mean it's derived, mean you can make a movie, you can make a comic book, you can make an animation, you can make a play. You know what I'm talking about? Full-fledged blockbuster. So you're just steadily putting it in different forms. You can make music from it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
you can make music videos. You can do all kinds of stuff and sell it. These people are not going to cross that line. All they're doing is rebranding John Wick. Somebody gave them the idea. Well, why don't we just incorporate the whole franchise into John Wick, and everybody gets the Matrix, but it won't be the Matrix, but it'll be John Wick, but they'll feel like it's the Matrix and they'll pay for it. Because when you go into John Wick, you see the lady in red. When you go into John Wick, you see Morpheus there. When you go into John Wick, you see some of the scenes, you know, on the motorcycle right out of the 4th installment. You'll see a lot of stuff that's lifted right out of the book, and all the fans know. The fans are not stupid. For some reason, they think these fans are stupid. The fanboys are not stupid.
I've never seen the John Wick movies. I know you told me about it before, but I've never seen the movies. Actually, I didn't even know that they were kind of like trying to portray it as, you know, a continuum of it, or this is a part of it, so on and so forth, until you had informed me of it. I'm looking like, oh, this is why it looks so similar in a different way. So they try to like still pass it off in another way.
Yeah, when you try to rebrand something and pass it off, you want to steal the shine from something else because you can't use that. It's the same way that Lil Nas did with Nike. Nike is the brand. So if you put some blood on it and some satanic rituals and paint it red or do whatever you're doing, and he sold 666,000 copies, and Nike came after him, and they're taking the money from him and Mischief. The company Mischief was behind him. And after that, it's going to be a criminal case. Because see, the civil case is always first for damages. Then the criminal case comes next because you're counterfeiting. You're counterfeiting a brand. Nike is a brand that's been selling around the world for years. You already know Nike. Lil Nas and Mischief, the company knew that Nike didn't belong to them. So how are you going to sit up there and dress up Nike and try to make it your own and change it? That's counterfeiting. That's the same way you do with money. You go and you take the money and change the denomination of the money, or you change the picture of the money of the president, or whatever, you doctor it up. That's what counterfeiting is. It's stealing. It's a criminal act. It's RICO, and the feds are going to come after you. Because what you're doing is counterfeiting. You're counterfeiting a brand. You see, that brand already has 2 to 3 billion fans globally around the world. And so you're trying to steal that money. So it's always two cases, a civil case, because they're going to take that money from you. Nike is going to take that money. Then the FBI and the DOJ can come in and they're going to prosecute you because you're counterfeiting. Counterfeiting lowers our money. It lowers the FBI's money. It lowers the Department of Justice money. It makes everybody's money like it's nothing. You know, your money
devalues it, yeah.
It devalues it, and it becomes worthless. So and this is what they're doing with trying to counterfeit the Matrix. they don't want the feds after them. When I went into the courts, I own the copyrights to the derivative movies. The movies are nothing but derivative. They're secondary. They're not primary. They didn't come before the copyrights. They didn't come before me. They came after me. My copyrights are 81, 83, and 84. Terminator didn't come out to October the 26th, 1984. Matrix didn't come out to March the 31st, 1999. Everything that Matrix or Terminator can be traced back to my 81, 83, and 84 copyrights in the books. I read 4 books on the Matrix and Terminator. Come on.
And after having the books out, after having the copyrights, they still try to say that they did not get this information to proceed with making these movies. And by that, this is how you were able to prove in the court, the District of Omaha, correct?
No, the District of Utah, the federal court,
Utah,
the federal court of Utah, because I come from a military law enforcement family.
Okay.
And my family was stationed at Hill Air Force Base, and that's how I got to go to Utah. And I had my court case there because the FBI told me to have it there with the Mormons, because the Mormons are very spiritual people. But even though they did get some of them, like some crooked judges and some crooked lawyers, I was still able to go in there and win. Now they're trying to make it look like that the Matrix is not a religious story. No, the Matrix is a spiritual story. It's not religious, it's spiritual. It's talking about the laws and world of God and the message, but it's done up in science fiction form. It's written in science fiction form. It's not written in any religious. It ain't written biblical. It is written in a science fiction story that sails around the whole world.
Changing your original outlook on how you wanted to present it to the world, correct?
No, they were trying to change the people's perception of my work. But when the people get the books and read it, they see it's science fiction. But if somebody is writing something or talking about something on the internet, or they're saying something in the media, they're trying to change the perception, which is called programming, which is plugs you into the Matrix. That's what plugging in and programming is all about, because the media is lying to you.
That is correct, Sophia. Can we touch on that a little bit, if you don't mind? When we're talking about, great. Now, a lot of times I talk about the wave formatting and how there's actually the frequencies that connect to your brain and write different information on your brain. Basically, this is the technology. This is everything that's a part of that matrix per se, or the simulation that we're a part of, so on and so forth. So when you say that the media is lying to you, putting these ideas and thoughts in your mind, elaborate a little bit on that for us, as far as like your thoughts on that.
Well, that's what Matrix was all about, coming out of the womb, coming out of the ignorance, because Matrix is a 7,000-year-old Latin word for the woman's womb. It's mentioned 5 times in the King James's Bible, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, "He who opens the matrix or come out of the woman's portal, her stargate, her womb, or his children, 3-dimensional children, 3-dimensional beings, and man created his lab rats or his children, the machines, out of the laboratory." So God's blood children, red blood, that's where the red pill come from, because God's children, when you cut them, red blood come out. And the machines, when you break them apart or tear them apart, they're blue and black ink or blue and black oil.
Yes.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yes, definitely. I appreciate you elaborating on that. I totally agree with that. In the sense of you saying that, that's the true, we would say, the indigenous person that has a true spirit would be the person of red that has the blood. That's the person that has the light. That would be considered a light being or a spirit.
Exactly, because
spirit.
all living things have blood in them, red blood coming out. The animals, they're gonna bleed blood. You know what I'm talking about? The people are gonna bleed red blood. It's gonna come out of them. Now the machines, it's always gonna be the blue and black ink or the blue and black oil. Coming out of them, the machines. What is it? Blue or black oil? or when it was in school, you got your grade changed if it was in black pencil or blue ink. But if it was in red, it was final. It could not be changed. Even in the courts, whenever anything is done in red, it cannot be changed or altered. And so these people, when they stole the work, they had no idea where the word matrix came from. Until me, the author, the creator, explained it to them. They thought it was just some word that was, really hip word or whatever. I thought it was like a super word. Until I broke down the contents and what the word matrix was all about and how the relevancy to the matrix itself, movie, theme, concept, characters, graphics, special effects, all coming out of the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book. So these people never wrote a script. They never wrote a book on it. They don't own any copyrights. They don't own any trademark, because if you go into the government and you ask for copyrights or trademark and you lie under oath, it's called under the penalty of perjury, they can come back and prosecute you 10, 15, 20, 30 years later. And what they're doing is using you as a witness against yourself, because it says clearly under the penalty of perjury, you are putting in documents that belong to you and that you are the true creator and owner of this. And if you lie under oath, everything you thought you got is automatically invalidated. So if you went into the motor vehicle and you used your sister's birth certificate and you lied under oath under the penalty of perjury, when you get into a car accident, they can come and prosecute you because you never had a driving license. So they can prosecute you for fraud, even if they found out 5 or 10 years later. They can still use your witnessing under the penalty of perjury. So when people lie under the penalty of perjury, beware. You didn't get whatever you thought you got is it automatically invalidate the moment you lie and commit fraud and perjury. And the government can turn around as soon as you get found out, come and arrest you. Because under the penalty of perjury is badass. It is this is why when you go into the police department and they start interrogating you and they have you to sign a confession. Well, when they have you sign that confession, it's under the penalty of perjury. You're being a witness against yourself. That's why your lawyer tells you, do not talk, don't sign anything, don't say anything, because everything you say and do can be used against you in a court of law. And that they can prosecute you with your own words because you're on tape. The moment you go into a police department, they got you on tape. They got you audio and camera down. Everything you say and do is recorded and can be used against you. And if you sign a confession or sign a document where you talk, it's under the penalty of perjury. So when you apply at a trademark office, if you apply at a Library of Congress for copyrights, or you apply for anything dictating towards the government, you have to sign off under the penalty of perjury, and they can get you 10, 15, 30, or 40 years later. You'll be like Bernie Madoff, going to prison at 65 years old and getting 150 years and dying there like he just died recently. That's what happened to John Gotti. He died of cancer there. That's what happened to Bernie Madoff, Whitey Bulger. Al Capone got out and he died from syphilis as soon as he served his time. But look, he had been committing crimes, all of them. Whitey Bulger died in prison from snitching. So they say, allegedly. But all I'm telling you, that crime does not pay and it will catch up with you. That's right.
And they set these traps correct. I'm sorry, darling. They set these traps correct because just like you said earlier, you can go in and take the information of someone else. They know that the information is the truth. They just waiting on you to do something so they can catch you up.
That's right. They set you up under the penalty of perjury. The lawyers never explain this to their clients like I'm explaining it to you and the people who are listening. You need to learn what under the penalty of perjury really means and what it's about, because it doesn't matter if you came in on the crime. Like, say, for instance, you started doing the crime, Andrea, and then I came later and joined in. I can still be tried as a principal just like you. Even though I came 10 years later, even if I came 6 years later or 100 years later, I still can get the same punishment as you. Because it's called aiding and abetting. And under the aiding and abetting law, you can be prosecuted just as the major, as the principal, who started the criminal act in the first place. So everybody that joins in with Warner Brothers in these studios that are stealing, it can receive the same punishment. The executives, under the executive order of Donald Trump signed in an executive order saying that if you got anything under the racketeering law, under that executive order, you can be prosecuted. If you're getting money under that executive order, under the RICO Act, a RICO Act is a criminal act. I mean, if you commit any crime, whether it's sex trafficking, whether it's pedophilism, whether it's drug trafficking, anything, even if going into the copyright office and stealing copyrights and lying fraudulently for trademarks and anything that you get and from the government under the penalty of perjury, they can come back and nail you 10, 20, 15, 30 years and prosecute you as if it was the first day that you committed the acts. They need to know it. That's right. Yes. And anybody that comes along and join in thinking that, well, I came in on the tail end. Well, I only was doing it for 6 months. Whether you're aiding and abetting, no matter what you're doing, you could be tried as a principal under the RICO Act and get the same thing that a major person who's been operating for 20 or 30 years or 40 years, you still can share in and get the same maximum sentence or worse. And it doesn't matter if you're aiding any kind of way. If you're bringing them information, you're helping them to steal copyrights. You're helping them to steal trademarks. If you're sitting up there bringing or doing anything to aid them in a criminal act against the government, you will be tried as a principal.
So even the ignorance of the law, basically when they say the ignorance of the law. Oh, yeah, I didn't know. That doesn't work.
It doesn't matter if you're in ignorance of the law. You need to read the RICO law. The RICO law is what put Al Capone, John Gotti, Bernie Madoff, Whitey Bulger, put these people, some of the people that I'm naming, mobsters, who had committed crimes for 20, 30, 40 years, put them all in prison. Yeah, they paid to stay out of jail a long time because there are fans that said, well, wait a minute, Warner Brothers and them are selling Matrix and Terminator. Yeah, they're selling stuff, they're getting the royalties, but guess what? Every time they sell a Matrix and Terminator product, it adds 10 years to the RICO law. It adds 10 years to them getting prosecuted, meaning that the statutes of limitations will never run out. In other words, say you start stealing in 1984 and you continue to collect royalties, Schwarzenegger, or any of you out there collecting the royalties, and they sell a product, it adds 10 years to your sentence. Meaning that you can be 100 years old if you're still alive. They're going to come and arrest you and put you in prison. And if you got 3 more years left, and you die at 103, you'll be in prison dying at 103. Because every product that is copyrighted and it starts selling and you're paying to stay out of jail like the way the mobsters did, like Al Capone, all of them. Whitey Bulger had a brother who was a senator and a best friend that was an FBI director that was helping them to steal. They made the senator step down. They did something and set up the director. He killed somebody, did something, they put him in prison. And then Whitey Bulger went on the run because he had nobody to pay off. Then they caught up with him in Santa Monica, brought him back, and he died in prison from snitching. Somebody killed him there, but he probably got killed because he knew too much. Same thing with the other guy, that Jeffrey, the one with the island, Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein. The same way, he knew too much, and if he's dead or under the witness protection program, he's one of them. He's either dead or under the witness protection program. You see what
I
I'm talking
have
about?
two. Yes, we have two questions. Two of the listeners wanted to ask real quick. The first one was, they said, "Have you been?" I'm sorry, I didn't. Let me recall who that was. Someone asked, "Had you been blackballed?" Ricky Young. He asked, "Have you been blackballed in the industry?"
Ricky, let me educate you. I never was blackballed because I never joined the organization.
So she wasn't a part of it, Ricky, period.
I never worked those in the first place. Did you ever see me on the red carpet working for them? Did you see them selling my ass and my tits? Did you see them selling kids and what they sell on the red carpet? That came from slave days. If you saw the movie Get Out,
right?
You look at the movie Get Out, and you see all those black people on the block. That's what the red carpet was about. The Jews are tradesmen. They do hats, they do clothes, they do jewelry, and they sell those jewelry, clothes, and hats on the red carpet. But now they're selling a little bit more because you see half-naked women, half-naked children, half-naked everybody on the red carpet. So they're selling tits, ass, and sex, and homosexuality, and everything else they can sell. And that's what
right.
And it came from slave days. Go look at the movie Get Out and look at them, those people where they're fingering the babies and fingering the women's and fingering the men's, and they're sitting there bidding on them. Well, that's what they're doing at the carpets where you see all the galleries and events. They're getting on the phone, billionaires, and say, "Hey, I want the Kardashian," and send them over. I'll give you $50 million to the agency, and you can pay her $10 million or $5 million, but I want to have sex with her. So send her over. And like what one girl told me, she could have got the Oscars instead of Halle Berry, but she didn't want to have sex with that guy that was married to Angelina Jolie. What's his name? The one she had sex with.
The old guy?
Yeah, the guy. I can't think of his name right now. But
I'm bad with names too. I'm sorry.
He used to be married to Halle Berry.
Okay.
I mean, not Halle Berry, to Angelina Jolie, excuse me, before she married Brad Pitt. The guy that Halle Berry having sex with.
Yes.
The one she's having sex with used to be married to Angelina Jolie before she married Brad Pitt. But as soon as he had sex with her, she divorced him immediately and got with Brad Pitt.
That is crazy.
Yeah, because
another gentleman
was cut. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say another gentleman was saying, "I wonder."
Go ahead.
It's a little delay. I'm sorry, Sophia.
Oh, that's okay.
No, go ahead with what you were saying. I think I cut you off.
I was answering his questions. No, I don't work for the cabal, so the cabal can never. I work for God, and so therefore the cabal can never blackball me because I don't work for them. Blackballing means they stop you from the money opportunity, stop you from making money, stop you from going to work. The only thing
you're not a part of that
is God. That's all. I don't work for the devil.
That's right.
I didn't sign anything in blood, and I don't belong to the devil, and therefore I don't need his money.
That's right, sister. The gentleman, brother Didac Mercury, said that the person you were talking about was Billy Bob Thornton. Is that correct?
That's his name, Billy Bob Thornton. Halle Berry had sex with him, real sex. You saw her stretch marks. And this girl, she told me they had offered her the Oscar. She's, I'm not going to name her. She's a well-known actress. She played in Blade. She had a starring role in Blade, and she turned it down because they told her she had to have real sex with Billy Bob Thornton, and that was disgusting to her. And so she wasn't going to get something like that would be disgusting to her, because the Oscar goes to the best liar. That's what that Oscar, the best liar, because acting is about deception, and acting, you're deceiving and you're lying. So the Oscar goes to the best liar. That's what the Oscar goes to. Whoever can convince you that they're a doctor or a killer or a soldier or whatever, or a hero, and they get that Oscar from that movie, and the Oscar goes to the best liar.
Wow.
What's the second question? Yeah.
Yes, he said, I wonder why she haven't sued them. Sounds like she had a big case on her head. Now, we covered that, sir. She actually did Hardline Boss. She didn't really get into it a little bit, but she can tell you a little bit about that herself as far as how she brought it into the courts and what happened.
Well, I need to tell these people because it's so sad, because God says, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. And it's so sad because all these people have to do is go to the archives and find out that I won the lawsuit 7 years ago. Now, this is pitiful. It was 3 lawsuits. The first one was in California, was a criminal case to put them in jail because the FBI had already validated the theft and everything. The documents are in the court docs. The second court case was in Utah because they got that case dismissed. And they said I owed some attorney fees, over $300,000. Now, the second case was in Utah, and I won back that $300,000 for attorney fees because I was on my own attorney. I won pro se. But I was also able to enter in the copyrights to all the derivative movies and enter in the FBI documentations and enter in all the evidence, which was 96 pages, all the movies, 1 minute, 45 seconds hidden in plain sight of the protective expression, showing you that I wrote Matrix and Terminator and that I own it by copyrights. Now, these people are so pathetic because they're still reading old news on the damn internet. The internet is not media. Wake the hell up, folks. It is a communication platform for you to sell and make money for commercialism. It is not telling you the truth. You have to go to the news archive and read that I'm the real creator and owner of the Matrix and Terminator, and that I won 7 years ago. You guys are looking on the internet and reading old garbage and old stuff, and all they're doing is circulating and mimicking old stuff and gossip off the internet. None of them would take 2 minutes and go to the news archive and pull up the real news. What the hell is going on with you people? You people are in the Matrix. And do you know, if you do not find out information and real knowledge, you're going to die. You're going to die. If you're reading stuff off the internet, you're going to die. Nobody can sue anybody on the internet. They ain't even using their real names. There are nobodies on there spreading gossip. Even some of the lawyers are dumb and misleading, and people that supposed to have this knowledge is misleading. It's so sad. It's really, really sad.
Yes, it is. It is.
In America, and not know what's going on. How could you know that these people never wrote The Matrix or Terminator, never told you on any show? If they wrote The Matrix and Terminator, hell, they can come on anybody's show. They can come on Ellen's show. They can come on anybody's show and tell you. But you won't see that because under the penalty of perjury, that tape can be used against them to prosecute them for lying. So you never see them on there. And Andy,
so what you were saying.
Wait a minute, I got to tell you something important. I'm sorry. You people, Andy and Larry Wachowski, are not women. You need to stop calling them that. They have had no sex change. They have had no federal name change in any courts. I asked for these documents when I filed the lawsuits. The lawyers could not provide it, so they went in under Andy and Larry Wachowski. Andy has been married to his wife for 22 years. You can put an investigator and find that information out. He is not a Lily, and Larry is not a Lena. They're men with women. Larry had a wife. He divorced her in 93, got with a dominatrix woman. They love women. They've been lying to the LGBT group and organization for years, and they never investigated to see if they were this or not. They never checked to see if they had any sex changes. They never checked to see if they had any legal name changes. They can't even get a legal name change because they're thieves. They're thieves. They're crooks. They've been lying to y'all for years. And for 18 or 19 years, y'all been spreading the lie and believing the lie and haven't seen a movie since 2003. The only one that's been continuing the work is me. Now, if I was a liar, wait a minute. If I was the liar and I was the thief and I was counterfeiting, my ass would be on TV everywhere locked up.
That's right.
Kidding me? I'm gonna tell y'all like the mob. Are you kidding me? Are you still locked in the matrix? What the hell? Wake up before somebody kill you. Wake up.
Really? They're sleeping, sis. They're sleeping. Oh, I talk about it all the time. They don't understand. I keep trying to explain to these people about the assimilation and how it's a trick of the mind. Just it's sad, and it's like trying to open up people to it, but because their mind is so warped and being trapped into it, they really can't get it.
And they're dying and being killed in harvest over and over because they won't take time to go to the real news and dig the truth for themselves. God wants you to dig the truth for yourself. He doesn't want you to accept anything. He wants you to find out so nobody can lie to you. And it means your life or your death. Finding out the truth means your life or your death. You know what I'm talking about? Going by bullshit. You know what I'm talking about? Being locked into programming, locked into a trap. You see what I'm saying? What is going on with these people? You know what I'm saying? It's not difficult.
But it is, Sophia, because of the, how can I say it? Because of the entrapment, they get so stagnated because of, you know how you were saying about the different chemicals that attack your body. You know, you put things in, it'll attack certain joints and stuff. I always talk about this stuff. And with that, also is that dissemination of the mind. So they can't really get it. This is why they keep being trapped, because they keep putting these things inside themselves and they keep filling up themselves. They will not detox. They will not cleanse themselves. They keep putting in these things that inorganic, the GMO thing, and it's like it's a pollution. So now this pollution, it has no way to see clarity or understand truth. It can't even magnetize to the truth because of that fact. So I always talk about health and trying to get people at least get that clarity so their mind is more purified so they can see that and get that and resonate with it. So it's a battle, sis. It's a real battle.
And you're telling the absolute truth. It's so horrible, you know, because it's so easy to go into the archives, to the library and look up the truth and be done with that. But they will go on the internet and they will swear up and down that the internet is the Almighty God, or the internet won't be lying to them, or the internet is sacred, or is holy, or is something. And I haven't figured that out yet, because all it's been doing is giving them the same lie since 2005.
Yeah.
And that's all they've been spewing is an old lie from 2005. Now, who does that? I had a California case that got dismissed. I had a Utah case that I won at September the 25th, 2014, and on the Matrix and Terminator, been on the red carpet at the Oscars, announcing that for the whole world. And in the Nevada case, I won $55 billion, and they're hating it. I got a default judgment, and they're hiding that information from the public. They changed the case number and put a fake judge name that wasn't even a judge when the case started in 2018. That's how low life they are. And when the public finds out this, it's going to come open, and it's going to bust wide open. And you know what busts things wide open is when people find out the truth and they won't support the lie anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Because they're
the
going to
truth
try
gonna
to
pound it.
lie to them as long as they can lie to them. They're going to stretch that lie out and harvest these people and do all kind of wicked things to them until that lie comes to an end. And when that lie comes to an end and those people come back on them, oh, it's hell to pay. And it's so sad because all they need to do is research things.
Someone asked.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll answer.
No, I'm sorry. They were asking, were you familiar with Hare's property? Lou Era Grassroots asked this question, and I'm not exactly sure what Hare's property is myself. Are you familiar with that?
What is the name of it?
Hare's, H-E-I-R-E. I'm sorry, H-E-I-R-S, Hare's property.
No, but it might be something I know from another name. So tell them to explain it, because it's always different names, but the same old stuff. with a new
Okay.
name change. So
If
could you
you can
elaborate
elaborate
a little
on
bit?
that. Okay, great. Any other specific questions anybody had? I can definitely answer rather quickly. I wanted them to know a little bit about where did you decide to make this this third eye? I know you've always been spiritually inclined. You know, as a young child, you had certain different things. Can you get into that and what actually made your mind create this idea? Where did you see? Wait a minute, we're in the matrix, and but there's ways that this matrix is being going, and I'm going to put it in, you know, kind of write it out. Or how did you get the idea, Sophia?
It was easy because I saw Star Wars. I'm from New York City. It was at the Apollo Theater where they started showing movies. The Sutton brothers owned it at that time. And I saw Star Wars for the first time. And Star Wars was the wars in heaven. And it was talking about Lucas, George Lucas, how Lucas was writing about Darth Vader, the devil, how Lucifer, the devil, fell from the light side to the dark side. And I recognized the story in science fiction form. I say, wow, I know this story. So I said, what if I wrote the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machines? What if I wrote that story in science fiction form? And when you look at the Terminator End Time Revelations, because that's where the prophecy comes from, where the machines in the future here, the oracle's prophecy, that a baby is going to be born to destroy them, this savior that's going to destroy the machines when they enslave mankind in the future. So that's why the Matrix and Terminator is past, present, and future time travel, where the Terminator knows that the mother of this baby, this savior, J.C. John Connors, Jesus Christ, who wrote Neo, one and the same in the Matrix, that John the Revelator was the only one that called Jesus the one, and that Neo is just a sneaky way, an anagram of calling him the one, Neone. So the Terminator knows they have to time travel to the past because Sarah Connor is destined to have this baby. But Kyle Reese is one of the rebels in the future, and he knows that about the oracle's prophecy too concerning Sarah Connor, the mother of this baby. So he time traveled to try to protect her. They come through the burning blue portal naked without shame, the machine, because he's a machine. And somebody tell him go put on some clothes, because he doesn't know he's naked or without shame, because he hasn't no soul. He's not a living being. He's a machine wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed. So he's coming after Sarah Connor. Kyle Reese comes to protect her. Kyle Reese falls in love with her while he's protecting her, make love, get her pregnant. It's the Immaculate Conception, because he has to go back, time travel back to the future, because he cannot stay in the past. He's a time traveler. So this is why the Terminator is the prequel, so the beginning of the epic story to the Matrix. And Matrix, they didn't even know till they heard me talking about it. They were trying to copyright the word Matrix. Well, you can't copyright the word Matrix because it's a generic. You can't copyright the word cola because it's a generic. Now, you can copyright Pepsi Cola. You can copyright Coca-Cola, Shasta Cola, RC Cola, some cola with a name, but you can't copyright the word cola and own the word cola. And they thought that they could own the word Matrix, and so they tried to copyright the word Matrix and got crushed and told that it's a generic, but I copyrighted the Matrix. You see, the third eye Matrix in Terminator. Because the Matrix is talking about the woman's womb. The difference between a man and a woman is not the vagina and the penis. It is the womb. A woman can have a baby. A man will never have a baby. I don't care how many doctors give him fake wombs. He will never have estrogen manufacturing through the body to expand the womb for 9 months or 36 weeks. He will never have a feeding tube called the umbilical cord, because if we go to 10 months in that umbilical cord, the feeding tube dries up, the baby is going to die. He will never, ever have any breast milk. I don't care how many tumors or how many false growths that a doctor put on your body. It's cosmetic, and if somebody hit it, it's going to turn into cancer because it's a tumor.
That's right.
You have actually paid the doctor $10 or $15,000 to put a tumor on you that can turn cancerous if somebody hit it or it just lays there dominant. It's only for show, and it's dangerous because it's nothing but a false growth. That's what a tumor is. It can become malignant anytime.
Wow.
So they need to stop lying because you're getting your penis cut off. It's cutting off the seed. Everybody wants the penis. So why would you cut your penis off and become Dr. Frankenstein? Doesn't make
I'm telling you.
The penis is the most revered. The most revered of all is the penis. The most sought after in the world. So why would you pay your doctor $40,000 to cut off the most sought after thing in the world that brings the seeds upon the earth?
That must be somebody crazy.
Of life. The continuation of life. Because you're never going to have a baby. I'm sorry. The doctor's been lying to you just to take your money. He can give you a fake womb, but it won't expand. It won't have no baby. It won't be no estrogen. It won't be no umbilical cord to feed. And it will be no breast milk. Wake up.
Period.
Wake up and stop dreaming. And
that's right.
These openings on the body was created to evacuate waste and toxin and poison from the body. He gave the opening in the eyes to cry it out of. To cry the bacteria and the waste out of your eyes. The sweat glands to sweat it out of your body. The nose to blow it out of your body. The ears to drip it out of your body. The mouth to gawk it out of your body. The vagina and the penis to secrete it out and piss it out. And the anus to shit it out. Okay? That I said it.
And not supposed to go up in there.
You're not supposed to go up in there because it's called sodomizing. It's where Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible came from. Go and read it with Lot, incest, and killing people. Because it's got laws on the book that you will kill somebody if you sodomize them because you're pushing shit back into the body. You're pushing bacteria. You're pushing toxin and all kinds of nasty stuff back into the body, and you will get an infection. You will get an STD. You will get AIDS. You will get something and die. Nothing can prevent that. Nothing can prevent that. You do sodomizing and gonorrhea. That's what Sodom and Gomorrah was. Sodomizing and gonorrhea was the name of the city, the Twin City. That's what they were practicing in bestiality and having sex with animals. That's why you got the most wretched diseases in the world. It is horrible. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to others. Stop lying, period, because everybody that lies is aiding and abetting in the lie. You're going to be tried as a major.
That is right. Say that again, Sophia.
You can tell the truth and just tell the truth. You don't have to be deceitful. You don't have to lie. Say, I'm a man and I'm in a dress and I want to be with another man. And he says, okay, I'll be with you. I told my cousin that. My cousin was almost getting killed, getting guns pulled on him because he was a transsexual. 3 of my cousins are gay. And I told him, I said, look, you don't have to be deceptive to people. Just tell them the truth and let them accept you for who you are. And do you know what? Because I'm on a lonely highway where somebody might kill me or harm me. Just tell the truth. If that's the lifestyle you want, then be truthful about it. Why the deception?
That's right.
Why getting other people to lie because they feel bad and they want to help you out and they feel sorry for you and they want to be a part of the lie? Tell the truth. That's all you got to do is let people accept you for who you are.
That's
if they don't
right.
accept you, the lie is definitely going to not help you to be accepted. The lie is just horrible. Tell the truth and let people accept you for who you are.
And
Just that
You
simple.
have to accept yourself. Too.
It's just that simple.
Make sure you're doing that.
There's no need to lie, because lying is aiding and abetting. Lie makes you bad. And just because man telling you to tell lying is 50,000, 50 million, or 7 billion people lying on the earth doesn't stop the lie, doesn't change the lie. A dog will never be a fox will never be a dog, no matter how many lies you tell. No matter how many lies you've convinced yourself, no matter how much deception you've done, it ain't gonna change the facts. All it's gonna change is who you are. And all you are is nothing but, at the end of the day, but a liar. That's all you are. At the end of the day, a liar. When you support lies, you are a liar. I'm sorry. If you really want to do something, then support the truth.
Yes. Support the truth.
Who they really are.
That's right, sister. When it comes to that, Sophia, Wisdom Seeker, he asked, when did you know that you were an oracle? Was this something that you just knew that you were an oracle? Is this something that someone told you that you had a gift? Or and before answering that, if you can give me 1 second. Thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in to Main Radio. Make sure you guys are tuning in Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're out. If you want to continue this conversation with the rest of Miss Sophia has to share with us, she does have a little bit more time. She has an event, so she's going to give us a few more minutes. If you have any questions, please join us over on YouTube at sistersoul.com, and we are out. Thanks so much for tuning in to Sister Soul Talk About It segment, the Main Radio. Have a great one. All right, Sophia, thanks so much, Garner, for that wait. And so, yes, he's wondering, when did you become an oracle? When did you know? When did you realize? I mean, obviously, you've been born blessed with, being intelligent, so on and so forth from your childhood. But can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was always exceptional in school. I did not do high school. I took the New York Regents, got the diploma, and went into college and got the degree. Went to grad school, USC, City University of New York. And I was always an exceptional kid, and was already writing and doing math and doing very phenomenal things. Taxes, where the IRS wanted me to come and work for them. I scored a 98 on the IRS exam. Was exceptional with law, worked for a Beverly Hills law firm. So I was always doing exceptional things, winning awards, still winning numerous awards, still very much a prodigy. I'm a prodigy. And some people are geniuses, but the prodigies are like people that you see where the little girl that's 12 years old is working for NASA. Or you see the movie Hidden Figures, where these women were very prominent in any of the going to the moon or helping NASA solve the mathematical problems that they needed for space travel. So I'm what you call, like those women, they've hidden the fact about these people. I was never hidden. I was in the open. And there's many, many prodigies that are working for government, working for NASA, working all over. They get their degrees. Some of them 7 years old, 8, 10, 12, 14. You know what I'm talking about. So it's always been like that.
So, and since you said that, I want to touch on that, Sophia. I talk about this. It's ironic. Just last week, I did a video on superheroes, and I explained to people how they get these stories, just like your Matrix, and you're explaining certain things. They get a lot of these stories about superheroes from our abilities, our electromagnetism, the energy we have, so on and so forth. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all, but because of that, it's very important. I try to not really overwhelm people with the information, because you can just get really deep into stuff, and people, it kind of goes over their head. But when it comes to these things, we have these abilities, these powers. This is one of the things, these prodigies like yourself that are just born with these abilities that have not been cut off. And I talked about the ways that they cut our children off now to make sure that they don't reach these stages, starting in the womb, so on and so forth. But can you elaborate on that, Sophia? Because this is pertinent for people to understand. These are real people like yourself.
Yeah, well, they don't want you to learn math in school, because if you learn math in school, you're going to be a co-creator with God, a creator. You're going to be an inventor. You might be a phenomenal inventor, but you have to learn math and not spells or spelling. Spells and spelling is what the witches and the warlock, because words and illusions, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But I'm like Tesla, I'm like Leonardo da Vinci. We're polymaths. And when you're a mathematician and you know many maths, you're going to create. Like I'm talking about alien technology in the Matrix 4 book. That's 100 years ahead. Even the government and the scientists are listening to my interviews because I'm talking about, like you said, electromagnetic fields and energy. I'm talking about virtual penal system. I'm talking about virtual skateboards, virtual companies that are coming. Do you see what I'm talking? I'm talking about a car that once you give the vibrations of your voice, starts the car up. You don't need a key. You don't need to push it. You don't need anything but your voice recognition and the vibrations of your voice in a musical note. It starts your car where no one can steal the car because they don't have your voice, your vibrations, your energy to get that car moving. I'm talking about this 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago in the Matrix 4 book. Homeland Security got in touch with me. They read the Matrix 4 book on page 77. I'm talking about the new book, the new ship that's greater than the Nebuchadnezzar. It's called the Duo, where men's become gods upon the earth. And this ship is an alien UFO alien ship that is mind-boggling. And so Homeland Security, they read it and they say, well, you solved the Roswell incident. And I said, what do you mean I solved the Roswell incident? They said, well, we captured these ships when the aliens died. They sent me classified information from the Pentagon about these ships before I was even born. This Roswell incident happened in the 40s and the 50s. And they show where they captured the ships, but they didn't know how these ships flew. They didn't know how they cloaked invisible. They didn't know how they were seen in two places at the same time until they read the Matrix 4 book. In the Matrix 4 book, I'm saying that the ships, the UFOs, fly with electric magnetic ring pulsion and the reversal of gravity, and how the machines cannot detect them, and how they're invisible, and how they're able to move, and how they load up when they hit these magnetic rings or these magnetic grids on Earth. Because like at the Amazon of Peru, a lot of these magnetic grids, electromagnetic grids, have never been touched by man. And this is why you see a lot of the UFO ships, alien ships, fly over Peru, because they're looking for these magnetic grids where they are like gas stations for these UFOs. And they fuel up on it just like we fuel up at a gas station. You see how we come in, different cars come in, fuel up and leave out.
Yes.
Well, the same thing happens with these UFOs. They're coming from not from outer space, but they're coming through portals.
Yes. Yes.
They have all these portals that they come through, and they materialize through these portals because they know all the openings, because nobody can go through the magnetic ring around the Earth, that belt that protects the whole Earth. So anything that hits that belt, like coming in, trying to get into the Earth, will blow up into thousands of pieces. And that's why you see the meteorites. And if anybody tries to go out, they're gonna blow up. So this is why they got these space stations and these satellites that are orbiting around the Earth in this space. That's why it's called outer space, because it's in this certain space.
Yes.
That's why it's called out in space, because you can only be in this little space between the belt and the Earth itself. And that's where all the satellites and the orbiting stations are. But they can't live up there because they can't manufacture oxygen. So they'll never be there. So they try to go underground. They want to destroy the Earth. So they wanted to build, like just like in the Bible where it says that they wanted to build their throne upon God. And that's why they try to go up into space. And then they couldn't do that. And then they're trying to go underground, but it's so many earthquakes, so many fusions, so many shifting of the Earth core, because inside the Earth is all this heat and this fire that constantly is shifting the Earth, where land just pops up out of the ocean. That's called islands, or where the Earth is shifting, where land falls right into the sea. But any cause or effect is always like if some land falls into the sea, then some land is going to pop up in the sea.
Pop up somewhere else.
Because it's always balanced. It's always balanced. It is always balance and order. God created balance and order. Man created imbalance and anarchy. What you call it? Anarchy, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's the one that created hell upon the earth. He's the one that created unbalance and imbalance. He's the one that created the chemicals that the earth won't absorb and the water won't absorb. The chemicals, it will not get rid of it. That's why they put it in the cans and try to get rid of it. And the cans after a while start bleeding. Chemicals. But back to what I was saying, Homeland Security was reading on page 77. Get the book and get the information from Homeland Security. Anyway, it's teaching what's going on with these UFOs and these portals that they're coming through.
Yes, since I have talked about this, these people probably think I'm crazy. I be trying to show them and letting them see, and but people are only going to be aware of things when I guess they have to see it from inside themselves or recognize truth for them to even see the truth. It's kind of crazy to me. And those are those blockages. You can try and break barriers and open portals in people's minds so that these hemispheres aren't blocked and they're blinded to these things, but it's only up to them to really see it.
Well, they're not ready for this. Some things that they are evolving, they're going through evolution, they're ready for. But I have to cut everything short because I have to be at a Black Tie event at 6:30, and it's 5:10. But look, us do another one very soon, and we can really go to 2 hours or whatever. And hey, everybody, get the Matrix 4 book, read the new technology, go to my website, truthaboutmatrix.com. Get it off of Amazon. All you foreigners in foreign countries from everywhere, they go to Amazon, they get the book, and the people here in the United States, get it from my website or get it from Amazon. But I love for you to buy it directly from me. This has been great. I'm coming back. And thank you so much
this live.
Yes, we will definitely have Sophia back, guys. She's in a rush today. She definitely wanted to give you guys a little more time.
No, we're gonna stop this, and I'm gonna go to the other interview that has the other information, so we can get to it real quick. So we can do a little read after this. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Yeah, Sophia is like awesome. She's a mess. You hear a lot of negative things about people. You never know what's true, what's not. Just from my aspect, she's definitely a dope lady. Me and her have a lot of things that we talk about and have shown each other basically when it comes to certain information. Her being mature and oracle and things of that nature. It's easy for her to be able to hold on, guys. Okay, I found it. Let me pull it up. It's easy for her to be able to talk about things, and I want to get it to the right spot. Okay, it's easy for her to be able to talk about things, that she went through, because she went through a lot with these people, and she knows a lot about law. A couple of things. We're going to get into the next conversation, which is also awesome. Let's see. I asked Ab to come up. I think he got a little fascinated with her presence because she is so great. I wanted him to talk about the her Aboriginal side. She is actually an Indian, just to clarify. I don't even think it came up in this conversation, but she is an Indian. And she, she has her background, her ancestry. I think he did ask her about that. So we got a little information, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe that came up another time. I can't recall, but we're going to get that going. And let's go from there, guys. Here we go.
Again, I just reloaded it. It seems to be working fine. There's people in the chat room right now, so it seems like it's working fine.
I think she was having an issue with her mic, so we ended up just staying on the phone or something, guys, just so you know. Okay, let's go.
Maybe it's okay. Okay.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send it to your email. Is that better, or is it better?
Right.
Okay.
Girl, she stayed with
All
her.
right, dear. I'm gonna send it. I'm
her-
gonna send
yeah.
it now. Okay, thanks. All right.
Yeah, let me see.
Let's see, get the link.
I think it took her a minute to get it, or did she cut right in? Let me see.
All right, guys. Let's see what's going on. All right. All right. All right, guys. This right. Right. Think it was gonna do anything like that? Well, that may be why probably when you went in, it may have connected. Then I don't know. I'm not even sure, but we're not gonna even worry about it, Sophia. Everything seems to be fine from the phone. I'm hoping that everyone can hear you. Can you guys hear Sophia clearly? Can you guys hear her? Let me get a 1 in the chat, please.
They acting like they deaf. Lord, I hate when they do that. Let me know, somebody.
All right, Sophia. Yes. Much love, much love. Let me just say that I'm not sure what was going on, but we are set right now. Let's go ahead and get into, what what's most important. Getting this information in. They said that they can hear you, Sophia, which is perfect. So great. So we're all set on that. I wanted to just talk to you, as I said, make this more of an intimate conversation on some very important things that I think are more relevant to, people thinking and so on and so forth. Earlier when you brought it to my attention about the words, I really, really want you to just start there, Sophia. I was blown away because these are some of the things that we hear and talk about on other topics, and it comes up a lot about the spells and the words. We discuss it when it comes to different situations, different things that are going on. I just want you to start wherever you'd like to and get into that and let people understand about the manipulation of the spells and your perspective on all that.
Well, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Sophia Stewart.
She said you jump right into it. Slow down.
Creator of the Matrix and Terminator film franchises. And that I want people to know very much is what's going on. My work was, the money was stolen, my work was used and made upwards to over $35 billion and counting. And the Matrix is unplugging you from the illusions, the lies, the ignorance, the programming. And from birth, when you come out of the Matrix, the womb, you're programmed from the beginning. And you go to school for 12 years in America, 12 years from the first one, kindergarten actually, some people go 13 years, because kindergarten and on up to the 12th grade. Except for kids that are genius and prodigies, a lot of them take exams and they bypass high school or they bypass grade school or junior high and go into college and get their degrees. So words, there are anagrams, and a lot of you people are familiar with anagrams. Like Neo itself is an anagram. The word Neo, N-E-O, is nothing but the word one, O-N-E. N-E going one way, backwards, going forward is nothing but the one, O-N-E. So the witches and the warlocks, the wizards, the soothsayers, they use a lot of words and they turn them backwards. Like you've heard when people were talking about in music, when they play music backwards, they hear all these incantations and hear people saying, commit murder and do a lot of negative things when you play music backwards on any music back in the day. I know a lot of you might have heard about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but look at the word live, L-I-V-E, going forward, and you're living when you go forward, but when you go backwards, it's an anagram, E-V-I-L, evil. So, evil doesn't really exist. It's just a person going backwards instead of moving forward positively. And they're moving backwards negatively because there's only this great energy that is good here, or that is God, or that is truth, or that is love, And when people look backwards, that's what evil really is. When they do things like instead of creating, they're tearing down. That's going in the wrong direction. You should be building up and creating. And when you should be buying instead of stealing. Creating life instead of killing or destroying life. That shows how energy flows on a battery, but they took those charge posts off, and now they're just flat, and you see the positive side, which is mean that the energy is going and moving forward. And then you see a negative side, which is taken away, because that's what subtraction is taken away from the positive. And that's what negativity is. It's taken away from the positive, and what you take away is the negative, becomes negative. So do you have any questions out there? Because it's quite easy. There's only one energy out there, and that's good. Vibrations, energy. And we see and perceive to be evil and horror and terrible and killing, lying, stealing, killing, blackmailing. All of that is going in the wrong direction, which is perceived as negative energy. And it's just like the math, because everything is the universal language is mathematics. So when you take the math, when you add for positive, it's addition and it's multiplication, because you multiply and you add onto something. And that's what makes it greater. That's what makes it better. But when you subtract and divide, that's negative. That's the negative. And that numbers have the negative. Subtraction carries a negative sign. Division carries a negative sign. Because division is separating. And subtraction is taken away from something. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And that's what destroying is all about, or tearing down, is when you separate and take away from something.
Just like the building, when they talk about the building blocks, or even building period. If you're building a wall per se for a building, like you say, you're adding on or you're taking away. That's the positive or the negative. It's not gonna get built if you're taking the bricks away. It's gonna take longer. And if you're stacking your bricks, you're gonna get to that foundation quicker.
Yeah, because you're multiplying and adding, it's gonna create. But if you're taking away and dividing, that means if you're taking the bricks away and dividing it, it's going to fall. It's going to destroy itself. It's not going to be anything. So that's what negativity does. It's nothing and it leaves nothing. But when you are creating and moving in a positive direction, a positive movement, well, you're creating vibrations, you're creating energy, and you're building.
The building blocks. So that's the building blocks of life. Continue to build with the positive things, making it something very constructive and making a solid foundation, basically, or something that's stable.
Well, yeah, but it's all about, creating illusions. It's all about, ignorance here and plugging from the ignorance and plugging from, because that's what being uneducated is all about. Because when you're educated, you know the facts. When you read, you understand, you know the facts. But if you don't read and you don't educate yourself, then you are kind of left out in ignorance. And ignorance is not a bad word. It has the word ignore in it. Because you're ignoring facts that you should know, facts that you should have read, things that you should have looked up. And you should know how you're operating if you're going in the wrong direction or the right direction by what is being taken from you. Your life is being taken from you. Your home may be taken from you. Your schooling, you may end up in jail, prison, on the streets or dead. And that's negativity. All of that's negative. That's all going in the wrong direction when you could be going in the right direction and building and creating, and your life being quite wonderful.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Sophia, remember I was telling you there was a gentleman that wanted to ask you some things more so in the lines of like your indigenous information. And I think a lot of that plays into effect with that when it comes to the truth being hid from us, even as far as our past, where we come from, some of the things with our ancestors, the things that we've had. You spoke about some of this stuff in conversation, I believe on the last show when you were saying how they use different things with manipulation, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to make sure that you know that we'll be extending this conversation in that area with this brother because he's very in depth with that. He did join up the platform. It's Aboriginal TV. We call him God of the Geechees, and he wanted to ask you some things about like the indigenous aspect or just your perspective, seeing that you're an Oracle and knowing so much. We are definitely so interested in hearing your perspective on it. So I just wanted him to tap into that with you because I'm not very familiar with it. So hopefully he can hit the right angles because he's pretty good with that. So just wanted to introduce you. Sophia, this brother is Aboriginal TV. Welcome and thanks so much for joining us, brother. I hope that you had some good things you wanted to ask Sophia before we open up the panel.
Yes, ma'am. Is she able to hear me, or am I able to? Do
Yes.
I have to refer questions?
Yes,
Oh, how
you can.
doing?
Sophia.
Can
Yes,
she hear
I'm
me?
right here.
Yes, he's. Can you hear him, Sophia?
I can hear you. You kind of little muffled, but go ahead. You can speak.
Okay.
And
First
I'll
of
tell
all,
you if you clearly enough.
I just want to say we appreciate you giving your time, and we appreciate all your contributions that you have done for our people. First of all, I just want to get that out the way. If it's okay with you, sister, so before we got an indigenous talk, I just had one question. I just wanted to really probe her brain on before we got too far away from what she does. So I got a question. From her understanding, and if she can't hear me, please relay this, and I'll try to make it as simple as possible. From her understanding, is DNA and the science of DNA, right? When I'm talking about ancestry and all types of, is that, and from her understanding, a new form of pushing this transhumanistic movement forward per se, because the movie kind of makes some analogies and kind of shows us some things about how we're moving into this transhumanism, right, where we're merging between man and machine, right? And so from my studies of DNA and how they're coming up with these tests and giving these people these results and they're creating all these different things, I was just wondering if she saw a correlation between the new ancestry genetic testing and potentially bringing in the new wave of transhumanism by doing that based off of that data that they're compiling. Was that, I know I said I was going to be simple. I'm sorry.
Well, listen very carefully. I can hear you very, very well. And I understood your question, but I'm going to expand your consciousness now for a moment. For one thing, man has created nothing but labels. That's all, labels. There are no indigenous, there's no black, there's no Negro, niggers, colored people, Africans, African Americans. Those are just labels created by man to confuse, to separate, whatever the hell, money and so forth. The real deal is this. Your people, if you're about the truth, those are your people. If you're about lies, that's who your people are. It has nothing to do with the skin. The skin is nothing but a cover. It has nothing else to do except for its reason for being invented on your body, maybe for environmental reasons, for other reasons, but it has nothing to do with who you are concerning your blood. And the blood is the DNA. It is the atom, A-T-O-M, not the Adama, the atom, A-D-A-M, a man, but the atom. And when you splice that atom and what you create with splicing, If I want to make a clone out of you, all I have to do is take your DNA, inject it with a syringe and an egg, and put it in a matrix. A matrix is a stargate, a portal, a womb. So if I want to make a clone of a sheep, or a clone of a horse, or a clone of a person, that's all I need to do. I can be a scientist or a doctor. And I will create a duplicate of you. Because God gave man dominion over the air and the earth. So he can create anything. But it's going to be a Frankenstein. Because God gave a natural way of being birthed. It's when a man and a woman come together and they bring that egg and that sperm together, and that matrix is the bodies, which are called transportation into this earthly dimension. Now, doctor, all he is Dr. Frankenstein, and he's telling you a lie. He cannot change a man into a woman, because the difference between a man and a woman is the womb, the matrix, the stargate, the portal. She can have a baby. She can have breast milk to feed the baby. She can have a feeding tube while the baby is in the matrix for 9 months or 36 weeks. She will have estrogen going through her body, the hormones, to expand that matrix of womb so that baby can grow inside that body, transportation can grow inside of that womb. Now, all a doctor can do is lie to you for $40,000. What he can do is create a fake vagina, because the vagina and the penis doesn't make you a man or a woman. It is having a baby. And no man will ever have a baby. So that's the biggest lie ever told. And people politely saying, calling a man a woman, calling a woman a man, is the biggest lie ever told upon the earth. And all you're doing is lying. And if it's politics, you're just politely lying. Now, man has been creating monsters for a long, long time. And you know it as mythology. Yes. You know it as mythology. Go back into the mythology and let's look at some of it. Let's go all the way back to the ancient Egyptians. And let's look at the hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphics is nothing but hidden knowledge. That's what hieroglyphics are. And we see a man with a jackal head, Anubis. And we go into the Greek times and we see the Minotaur, a man with a bull head. Or we see Pegasus, a horse with wings. Or we might see a horse, a unicorn with a horn in his head. Or the giants, or Cyclops with an eye in the middle of his head. So man has been creating these monsters for a long, long time. So it is nothing new under the sun. And now they're creating clones and gender benders and gender manipulated babies. And what is gender benders? They're taking gender away from the babies. But man is creating them in the laboratory. Just like he creates all the chemicals that you take that you pay $109 for. That you pay $80 for. It's ingested in chemicals. That's what the doctor can sell you, chemicals. That's the only thing that's going to cost you a lot of money. That's why they created gasoline. That's why the Exxons and the Mobils and the Shells existed. Because if your car ran by water, you didn't have to pay for it. It's free. They can't charge you because 3/4 of the earth is nothing but water. So they sell you all these lies because you can buy these lies. And that's what you're buying, lies. That's what you're deceived about. Yes, when you go into the Garden of Eden and you see Adam, I'm talking about the Adam and Eve, it is not talking about Adam and Eve, a man and a woman. They're in the forbidden apple, biting off the forbidden apple. It is talking about sex. It is talking about cloning. When you pull Eve, a nightshade, from the rib of Adam, that is how a clone is. It is taking the DNA and splicing that DNA and putting it into an egg and putting it into a womb and growing the sheep, which is a duplicate or horse. Go to YouTube 60 Minutes and look at the polo player who had his horse cloned 100 and some times so he could beat everybody in polo and win that money every time. And none of the polo players knew what was going
4 clones.
on. And he didn't give them any names because they don't last long. Clones don't last long. They're just like one amoeba, one kind of living organism we call an amoeba. And it has the memory up until it was born of that person or that sheep or that horse. It can't rise above that.
It's a shortage in
When
the
they're
memory
talking about
card.
the machines, they're talking about the ones in the lab, or they're talking about the mechanical ones. And the mechanical ones, the computers, their body is good as the man who programmed them. Their body is good as the man whose mind goes up to whatever level. So the machine that he creates mechanically, electronically, is not greater than what he is installed in.
I think my mic went out for a minute. Hold on, guys.
We wrote the book. We came before the book. The book didn't come before us. The book is not superior. We are superior because
We are the walking book, the walking word, the walking light.
So all these labels and everything here is to distract and confuse you from the truth.
Yes. Sigils, alchemy, visual alchemy on the
Can
brain.
I answer your questions? Because man can create anything in the lab. He can go in there and take out the gender. He can create any kind of monsters walking upon the earth, whether it's a mule, where he takes a horse that's big but he's weak, and he takes a donkey who is small but he's strong, and he creates a mule, but the mule can't have a baby because it's a hybrid created by man.
Right.
It has no womb. It has no matrix.
No soul.
So everything man creates in the laboratory has an end to it. It may have a beginning, but it has an end. But everything that God creates with the atom, ATOM, DNA, is a continuation of life. And it's like a memory chip. And it carries on the memories of all of your ancestors. And when you go into that DNA, you can access from way back 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, if it's so possible. You can gain the knowledge from that DNA chip, and it's inside of you, a living memory in the Matrix 4 book. And it continues forever. There's no end to it. It's the number 8888. 3 8s is God's number. It's a little atom sitting on top of another atom. That's what the number 8 looks like. And it goes in every direction, whether right, left, across the earth, meaning that the atom, DNA, life that God has created is forever. There's no end to it. And everything that man creates comes to an end because it has no womb. It is just a single amoeba. That's what a clone is. It has no seed, it has no soul.
Absolutely.
That's why the man had to creating the horses, cloning the horses to beat the other people out of the money. Go to YouTube, pull up the polo player who clones his horse, because that horse was a winner, and it always won all the polo matches. But it got sick, it got old, and it died. But he wanted to continue to cheat the people or win. He wanted to continue to win, so with the clones. And you saw sheep many years ago that came on TV where they cloned the sheep. They've been cloning people
Forever.
for a long time, but they're not going to tell you because it's a law.
Absolutely.
Not just the law of man, but the law of God.
Amazing, sis. So with this, Sophia, this is so amazing how they're
I'm sorry,
real quick. How they're diverse. I'm sorry. I know it's probably a delay because it's phone.
Let him answer, please.
Oh, he want that? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
First of
Brother,
all,
she want to hear what you have to ask. Go
Yes, ma'am. I was curious because everything you're describing to right now, right? Are you familiar? I'm sure you're familiar with the sister Henrietta Lacks. Um, if you are familiar with her, um, did her story have any influence?
Hold on, brother.
Okay.
He said Henrietta. He said Henrietta Lacks, Sophia.
Of course, I'm familiar with Henrietta Lack, and I'm very familiar what they did with her DNA. And I know what they did with her DNA and how much they made billions of dollars, and they didn't want to give her family and her ancestors and her.
And if you guys aren't familiar, I did 2 stories, one on Mary Ellen Pleasant, and the second one was on Mary Ellen Pleasant, who had all the gold that funded the Federal Reserve, helped fund it rather. She was just one of the participants that had a large abundance of gold. Mary Ellen Pleasant, and then her great niece, great niece, her second time over, great niece, who was actually Henrietta Lacks. Now, mind you, I showed you guys and went over the story. They called her the voodoo queen, all this other stuff. She was basically hired in the mayor. Instead of going to the mayor, people would go to her. All the abolitionists went to her to help with the freedom of the slaves, blah, 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 blah. Either way, that story you guys can find on my page as well as the second one I just did about a month and a half ago. That shows you the link between her, showing you that she was her maiden name, Mary Ellen Pleasant, actually the same maiden name as Ms. Lacks, which is how it ties into it. Henrietta Lacks, her maiden name was Pleasant, and she did have bloodlines that tied back to Mary Ellen Pleasant. So I did bring that information to the community about 2 years ago, and then I verified the other information after the genealogist that I work with. She actually, told me, hey, she's linked to that story. I'm so glad you did that story, blah, blah, blah. When she told me, I did the research. Sure enough, I was able to find all the information on that as well. So it gets deep, guys. Let's go.
Her people, her kids, and so forth. They didn't want to give them any of that money. Yes, they took her DNA and they used it for many, many things upon the earth. They got over and made a lot of money off of it. And when she went to that hospital, pretty sure they killed her for that because she had an unusual DNA. And they knew that they could make a lot of money. A lot of people died when they went to that hospital. They won't go.
Right.
Because there are billionaires and multi-millionaires that are looking for kidneys.
Just think about that. Mary Ellen Pleasant, who was the richest woman in California, had all the gold. Mary Ellen Pleasant had all the gold. And here her great niece actually had the something more important than gold, the gene of Eve that they actually used to just manipulate and make everything basically. Like I can't even name all the things that they did, medically with her cells. But yeah, you guys are familiar, I'm sure, with Henrietta Lacks. Go back and check the video on that if not. But definitely, this is like crazy. The connection of the gold. I think that's the name of the gold woman, the woman with gold, and her niece with the golden cells. Just look at the ironicity of that. That shit's crazy.
Looking for heart transplants. They're looking for livers and all kinds of stuff. And they'll pay the doctors millions of dollars to kill you.
Thank you, Willie. I was actually on the tip of my tongue. You must be in my head.
10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yes, her immortal cells and
they're
the
looking
gold
for them for their kids.
value.
And so once they take your blood, that's the first thing they do when you go into the hospital is take your blood because the blood is A. And the DNA matches up. It's a match.
Yep.
They got a match.
They have Genome Project.
They got a healthy heart. They got a healthy liver or whatever is needed. They're gonna kill you.
Yes, they have these people that are having the organ transplant. I showed you guys how they actually had a full ad on it and this paper. If no one saw it, I showed it on Empress channel. Actually, I made sure it on here today if I pull it up. But they have an actual ad where they were selling these people's organs and the value of your organs, mind you, the value of them, right? Because they're like gold. They have the highest value
you know, due to the melanin content of your particular species. So now you are on the hunt. So now they automatically have your blood from birth. If you're born at a hospital, the Guthrie card. I did a build on that, you guys, with the Guthrie card, Guntrie, I believe, Guthrie card. And they collect the blood. They have your specimen on file. They know your blood type. They know your whole genome pattern, all this shit. These demons and evil ass people got your stuff on the paper. They literally have it at this facility where they keep a track of everybody's stuff. So now this millionaire that may need a heart or a lung or this and that, they're going to say, hey, I need this particular blood type. So now they have your particular, you being old, you know, anybody can just grab you because shit, everybody can use that. But let's say you have O negative or AB or A or B or something. Now they can take you and put your information, because it's in their system, mind you, and they can actually put a hit out on you. These people is devious. Go sign your driver's license or something. They gonna put on there, organ donor. You ain't put organ donor on there. It literally happened to my daughter. We had to go back and y'all change the shit now. They will put organ donor on there, and then they can literally do whatever they want to, and nobody would know, oh, it's an accident with the car. Oh, somebody hit her by an accident. Whatever. These people are treacherous. Trust and believe that. Let's go.
And take it. They're gonna look and see if you're a donor on your driving license. Why you shouldn't put that on there? Because that's the first thing they're gonna look at is your driving license. That's why they want to see your ID. And they first get blood. So let me is about. And if you were mad, you're not coming out of that hospital, especially if it's an offer of millions of dollars for that body part. You need to wake up. Unplug out of the matrix. Because what we're living in is a lot of programs, a lot of lies, and a lot of distractions. And they put out a lot of stuff, a lot of information to keep you distracted, keep you fighting among yourself, keep you warring, keep you all into materialistic stuff, creating illusions like Houdini and Chris Angel and David Blaine and Copperfield. Creating, they got all these illusions. But the most important thing in this world is water. Not no diamonds, not no pearls, not no mansions, not no Ferraris, not no diamond or gold mines, oil fields, water. Without that, everything, including the planet, dies. When you come to the matrix, you've been living in water for 9 months or 36 weeks. Living in the living, eat it water. You're drinking it, you're driving it. And when the doctor clear out your lung and your mouth, the first thing he does is hit your bottom and you start screaming because you take your first breath of air here on earth, air breather. But for 9 months, in that water like a little fish with gills, and you're nourishing in it. And when you get here, you have to continue that in order to thrive.
I think he got disconnected, sis. Are you there, brother? Can you hear me, bro? Are you there, brother? Yeah, something going on with the StreamYard. I couldn't get in earlier, Sophia. Hold on 1 second. Are you there, brother? Yeah, let's see. So yes, Sophia, let's give him a second to try to get back in. It may be his device. I don't want to blame it on them. But let's see here. Are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm
Can
here.
you hear me?
I don't know how I got pushed in the back. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Like 3 of you for a minute. I don't know what's going on. Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you now. Did you hear what Sophia replied to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. you said a lot right there, and I just want to highlight some of the things you said. So you made reference to getting your blood, right, and how they're able to utilize that information, right, to sequence specific matches for specific body parts or limbs or organs or whatever, melanin, who knows, right? And by attaching that to your person, right, to that entity that they created in your likeness, essentially is how what I'm interpreting, right? This is the reasoning why whenever you see forms of authority, right, or representatives of authority, right, that first thing they want to do is ask you for your ID, not because they're checking necessarily for warrants. Yeah, they may be doing that as well, but there's an underlying unspoken thing that they're also checking for as well. And I just wanted to highlight for anybody who might have missed that, that was prolific, sister. Thank you for that. So when we talk, another thing, when you were talking about the waters, right? It kind of gave me the visualizations of what they would call the primordial soup, right? When you said the origins of the atom, right, and how they're able to clone, right, and make substantive representations of the original, but not actually being able to recreate that. That's why I brought up Henrietta Lacks, right, because she's such an example, right, of them trying to identify how to genetically sequence, right, this atom, right, into where they can create where they can play God, basically, right? But right now they're able to clone things, right? But they're not able to reproduce them in the manner that God or nature has intended or is able to do so, right? So when we see and we apply that, and when I think about it, is she trying to say something?
Brother. Hold on for a minute, bro. Yes, she said, hold on.
Listen, when you just pause for a moment so I can answer that question. Don't go on and on. You just pause for a moment. Man, like I told you, have been given dominion over there in the earth. And yes, they can create, but they cannot duplicate or replicate God create. The union between man and woman in the matrix, the womb, the seed and all of that. They cannot do that. They can only go to a level. That's it. Do you see what I'm talking about? But only to a level, and that's where it ends. They can make copies. Anybody can mimic. Anybody copies. Well, you go and you can make a copy of anything. You can make a copy of a shirt. You can make a copy of a boot. You can make a copy of a paper, your paperwork. Yeah, that you already know. But they cannot create life. You understand what I'm saying? They can create a copy of life, but in order to life keeps replicating on and on and on forever. There's no end to it, no beginning, no end. But it's an end to whatever man creates because all he's creating is a copy. And the copy has no substance except for what it was meant to be, a copy.
A genetically modified organism, a GMO.
That's all. That's all a GMO.
I talk about this all the time.
It's just something that's an organism, a living organism, but they can create living organisms because they're here. They're called amoebas.
Yeah.
That's been going on for a long time. And that's why a lot of us stand that there are these copies, these sheeps, these horses, these people who are cloned are walking around here.
Sophia?
That's right.
Yes.
They're living organisms. But that's it.
That's right.
They don't go beyond anything. They can't replicate. They can't have any babies. They cannot continue life. They're just a one shot. That's why if you go look at the polo player, and if you look at the movie, The Voice of the Band, what was the name of that movie?
Oh, I'm bad with
Boys in
movies.
the Band. It's a 70s movie. Anyway, it was talking about Hitler and cloning.
My brother.
There are surveys that will teach you about cloning. You guys are not cloning because they don't teach you about cloning. I've taught more about cloning than any doctor or any scientist will tell you. Yeah, they're talking a lingo that goes above your head, and that language is for the other ones that are all in the group. For others, philosophers, they have this special language that they communicate to each other.
Yes.
But they're not going to break it down on a level that I'm breaking it down, where it's just completely elementary, my dear Watson, elementary. They're not going to break it down on an elementary level where you can understand it and you can perceive it or you can perform it. Because they don't want you to have that knowledge. A man without any knowledge is nothing played. That's why God says, know thyself. And that my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Perish here on earth because of ignorance. And ignorance is not a bad word. It has the word ignore in it because they're ignoring facts. They're not reading. They're not comprehending. They're so distracted with materialistic things that they can't see what the real is.
Yes.
They're warring with each other, fighting like kids. All of that created to keep you from looking and seeing the truth. Because if you see the truth, it's going to set you free. It's going to set you free from the ignorance. It's going to unplug you out of the matrix. It's going to take you where you've never been before. So you can start to see everything. Just like in the movie, They. That's what that movie, They, T-H-E-Y, John Carpenter, and I know he didn't write it because there's never been nothing else on it. And you can always tell a creator because he will continue his work. And if he don't continue a work, that means he did not create it. If it's garbage and it's just revamping the old, he did not create the work because all creators eclipse their work. Their work is greater and more original. Original work, not an originator, because there's no such word. It is only original work that makes billions of dollars.
Can I get in here for a question?
Yes, please.
You said a key word that I just have to kind of poke and prod and see what type of information you have. You said cloning, right? And I actually have a small background in bioinformatics and understanding genetics. And so from my understanding historically, right, from what I've been studying, there seemed to have been, prior to Henrietta Lacks, right, and to this new current medical system that we understand and this neo science that we have today, right? When I look back in history, you made reference to like Hitler. Also, I think it was Japan that had a eugenicist program as well, and so several other countries, right, that were all working to working on something. Is it from your understanding that, like, when they found Henrietta Lacks, because from what I'm saying, when they found Henrietta Lacks' cell, they were able to take what they were looking for in the past centuries, and it propelled them into, the age of technology that we've seen, the vast amount of technology that we've seen within the last, from the 50s into now. Can you expound upon that if you have any information about that we may not be privy to?
Listen, let me just explain. You're not privy to all of this information. It's been right in front of you because they can't hide anything from you.
Nothing.
That is the law. Listen to me carefully. You have privy to everything because it's hidden in plain sight. Did you hear what I just said? is hidden in plain sight, because if they hide it from you, the law said you will find it.
Yes.
And they know that because that law is real.
That's right.
But if they put it in front of you, just like your keys are on that coffee table, you're tearing up the house, going through the closet, going through your pockets and looking for it, like they're staring at you. That's what they do. They put the truth and they put the information right in front of you that you're in denial. Want to be in denial and think what you just said. I'm not privy to it. No, you're privy to everything. You just gotta seek it. That's what the law says. For those to knock and the door be open, go seek and you will find. Yes. That is the law and it's real. And the eugenics programs have been going on forever. The military wants to do it because they want to create soldiers. These weird soldiers that don't die. They want to create clones and drones. Experiment. They want pack horses. They want machines that's going to pack their equipment because that equipment is heavy. I come from a military law enforcement family. So I know what's on the base. I used to work for the government twice as a teenager. So this stuff's been around you for a long time, right in your face. Now, what you intend to do with it or what you want to know about it is right there staring you in the face. They want to use that technology to enslave. That's why they've been creating it for many, many, many years upon the earth. And if you think I'm joking, go to the ancient text, go to New York City, go to the biggest library there, go to the archives, and you will see books that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. You might even get to read 1 or 2 pages because some of them are under glass. But they're not hiding this information from you. This is why collectors, wait a minute, stop. This is why collectors buy first edition books. They buy fiction books from those authors because you're going to get the truth. But as the publishing companies and these other people get hold of this information, they start watering it down and changing it. So by the time you get the 15th printing or the 10th printing, the 8th printing, it ain't what the author wrote. Because they're hiding the truth from you as you keep getting different editions of those books that are supposed to have important knowledge in them. So if you want to know more about Henrietta Lack, you want to learn more about DNA and how DNA sequencing works and how it works in the eugenic field and of them creating animals and creating people and sheep and horses and whatever else because that's why a female sheep has a womb. That's why a female horse has a womb. You see what I'm talking about? And why the cat has a womb. Do you see the female dog with a womb? That womb is the matrix. Matrix is a 7,000-year-old word meaning the womb. It's mentioned 5 times in scripture, 3 times in Exodus. Go into the Bible, King James's Bible. 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse. God said he who opens up the matrix will come out of that matrix, that womb, for his children. There are 3-dimensional beings that will continue life forever because they will be born with that womb. And that womb is a stargate, a portal to bring other beings, such as the baby being born, to continue life forever. And man is trying to duplicate what God is doing in the laboratory. They're called lab rats. And they have an end. They have a beginning and an end. This is deep.
Very.
Deep knowledge. Because the 3-dimensional being that God is talking about, his children, as an astral body, which is called spirit or the shadow body. And that sits in weight to a body. And the reason why a doctor will not perform an abortion at 12 weeks is because his spiritual body, blood, water, and spirit, that's the period. A woman can have an abortion up to 11 weeks because there's blood, water, and spirit. But at the 12th week, that body is being formed, and that spirit is in there, which is the astral body, and the soul of the seed attaches to the physical body at the 12th week. So when a doctor performs an abortion, he's killing a living soul, and now he's responsible. Before that, up until 11 weeks, there's nothing but a period. Blood, water, and spirit. You can't kill an astral body. You can't kill a shadow body. Do you see what I'm talking about? But the seed and the body, the astral body, the physical body, and the seed, which is the soul, becomes one at the 12th week. The continuation of life. If you don't believe me, ask the doctor. And he'll tell you, especially if he's not taking money to kill you, okay?
I'm not going to stop her knowledge, y'all, but thanks so much for tuning in to Sister Soul on the Main Radio. Make sure you're tuning in Sunday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks so much, Rael. Make sure you tune in Wednesdays, guys. Thanks so much for listening in. You can continue to watch on Sister Soul. Keep it up. All right. Yeah, did you have any other question for our brother?
Oh man, I mean I could ask her questions all night. Well,
man, just she said question, brother.
Did you hear what
so go right
just
ahead
said?
Because I would love to elaborate. But you're right. I just to say a little bit on that, brother. I heard a lot of what she said. We have had a lot of discussions on certain things when it comes to that. I talk a lot about the light, and then when I hear Sophia, it's just so many affirmations and confirmations on the information that we share a lot on the channel, because it's important to understand the dissonance in understanding these things, because there are so many things that come in between us getting this information, understanding it, it protruding to our mind and actually making us have an inner standing versus what something else is giving us information to, because we have so many things that block us on the outside. But I don't want to get distracted on that. But she said, did you have any other questions, brother? Yes, go ahead if you have any questions for her.
Man, that was heavy. I don't know if I necessarily have any questions.
Give me a second, brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody that is in the chat, if you guys have any questions, you are free to jump up real quick to ask Sophia any questions real quick. She has a little more time for it. So if you want to jump up, I'll drop the link, and we'll invite a couple of you guys to come up and ask her a question if you want to ask her something. You have something on your mind, or just have some personal thing you want to say to her. Just thanking her for her information and the way she just displayed it to us. You're welcome to do that. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you said a lot there, sister, and my neurons are still trying to compute everything. But one thing that I gained from everything you said, right? I understand what true freedom is and why you do what you do and why you wrote the book the way you wrote it now, right? I understand the amount of distractions that's put out and everything that is put out. I'm sorry.
Brother, hold on a second, brother. She's responding.
No, I was just saying, not only did I write the books, but the movies are nothing but derivatives of the book, just a film of the book. That's all they are. When you go take your camera on your phone and go out there and film the source work, you didn't create the source work. You just went out there and took a moving picture of it, or you took single pictures called sealed. So when these people adapted my book to the screen, all they did was take a camera and film what was in the book. That's what they did with Lords of the Ring book by J.R.R. Tolkien, the Maze book, the Maze movie, the Gravity book, the Gravity movie, Cloud Atlas, David Mitchell's book, V for Vendetta, the English writer Alan Moore's work, Speed Racer, the Asian guys from the 60s. These Hollywood people do not write. They don't own any copyrights except for what they buy. and they don't own any trademark except for what they own and buy. But if they steal anything from anybody out there, and they try to apply for a copyright or a trademark under the penalty of perjury, it's the same thing that happens to you when you go to the police department and you sign a confession. You swear on the oath that you're telling the truth, and whatever you're trying to get out of the government, whether you have the DMV, trying to get a driving license, you put in your brother's birth certificate or your sister's, whatever you got becomes automatically under that fraud and under the penalty of perjury inoperative, null, and void. So when you get into a car accident, they're going to arrest you for fraud and perjury. And they're going to use your signed confession as a witness against you. So the thieves are not going in the Library of Congress after they stole your work and made a derivative of it, a secondary, because the first work is the primary. Anytime they make a copy of something, it's called a derivative. It's derived from the source. That's why it's called a derivative. And they can't copyright it and they can't trademark it. And if they release it to make any money off of it, it is now called a counterfeit. They're counterfeiting. Just what Lil Nas did. Well, that's right, Lil Nas X, Lil X Nas, or Nas X, or whatever his name is. All he did was counterfeit Nike. He already knew that Nike was copyrighted. He already knew that Nike was trademarked, just like these people knew that the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book was copywritten. 81, 83, 84 copyrights. Terminator didn't come out until October 26, 1984. Matrix didn't come out until March 31st, 1999. The Library of Congress, the Copyright Office, they have nothing but lawyers working there. Trademark Office, USPTO.
Working it.
They can track anybody's stolen work to the copyrighted source work. Did you hear what I just said?
Repeat it for him, Sophia.
They can track anybody's work to the primary source work. And this is what the crooks know. And they know that whenever they go into any government facility, it's going to be under this law called the penalty of perjury. So when Lil Nas and the company Mischief and the executives of Mischief, they knew that they counterfeited Nike 666,000 copies. And Nike knew that they had done it and waited until they released it and made that money and came after them for the damages to take the money. Now, the second court case should be Lil Nas and those executives of Mischief going to jail for counterfeiting Nike. Because it was intentional, because they already knew that Nike did not belong to them when he put blood on it, and he put satanic rituals on it, and sold 666,000 copies. It is called counterfeiting. It's just like you take a bill, a $5 bill, and make it into a $500 bill. It's intentional because you already know that you took a $5 bill that wasn't made by you, wasn't created by you, and turned and altered it. That's what counterfeiting is. It's altering something without permission from the source. Making a duplicate, making a copy for sale to some foolish people out there that buy counterfeits. Do you hear what I'm saying? Buy counterfeited goods.
Yes.
Making you an accessory to the crime, aiding and abetting. Because all those people who bought 666,000 copies of that Nike need to go to jail with Lil Nas and Mischief executives. Because they already knew that Nike did not give any permission for their shoe to be counterfeited. It's a brand that was making millions and billions of dollars around the globe. Didn't need no help from Lil Nas, didn't need no help from Mischief Company. Didn't need no help at all to make money because it has millions and billions of fans attached to it, waiting on the next episode. So is Apple, so is Matrix and Terminator, so is Samsung and Microsoft. so. So Lil Nas knew that he was counterfeiting, and so did the Mississippi executives. And they need to go to jail. And everybody that bought 666,000 copies know that they were counterfeiting needs to go to jail with them. Because they already knew Nike, and they didn't see any news that Nike had endorsed that or had a signing deal, what you call an endorsement deal, a licensing deal for Lil Nas to put satanic rituals and blood on their shoes. So it's called aiding and abetting, and it's called buying counterfeited goods. That's why you should go to jail. 666,000 copies that you bought out there, because you knew it was counterfeit the moment you bought it. And like the law says, there's no ignorance of nobody can say, hey, I was ignorant of the law. That ain't gonna even help you at all. Sorry to put it so real. Sorry to put it so blunt. Sorry that the truth is what it is. Yes. But when you release a counterfeit, any counterfeit to be sold, and somebody makes some money off of it, it adds 10 years to the RICO Act. That means that the statutes of limitation will never run out. Every time you sell a stolen, copyrighted, or trademark, or any brand that's already protected under the law, and you go out and you counterfeit it and sell it, it had 10 years to catch up with you so you can go to jail like Bernie Madoff, who had been stealing for 20 to 30 years, and he got 150 years, and he just died. He just died in prison. He went at 65. He was stealing from the very wealthy, millions and billions of dollars, and they was reporting it. Don't think they were not, because the rich people are quick to call the cops, call the FBI, call the CIA on you. The same thing happened to Al Capone. He had been stealing and paying off law enforcement, paying off the government, paying off whoever he could pay off. The police commissioner would call him up, hey, Al, we're going to bust 3 of your places tonight. Make sure you're not there so you won't get arrested. That's right.
Something else.
He went to prison, and what do you know when he went to prison? Not because he was racketeering, not because he killed a lot of people, not because he was long-sharking, not because he put drugs out and he was doing prohibition, illegal selling booze illegally. He went on a little technicality called tax evasion, because when his little CPA got up on the witness stand, the government, the judges, the lawyers, the prosecutors asked Al Capone and his little CPA, how did you make your money, Al? Through racketeering, the RICO Act, racketeering and corrupt organization. And he said no. His little CPA said no, he had companies. And then they said, well, if you had the companies, how come the companies didn't pay any taxes? Because he didn't have any tax, no companies. The little CPA got up there and perjured himself and got Al Capone put in jail prison. He was there for 40 years. As soon as he got out, he died of syphilis. John Gotti, racketeering, Cohen, his lawyer. Government set that lawyer up because he kept getting John Gotti out, keeping John Gotti out of prison. They set the lawyer, that smart Jewish lawyer, Cohen up. Read about it. Read about history. And then John Gotti had to get another lawyer, and that's when the government got him and put him in prison. He died of cancer in prison. Read it. Whitey Bulger, his brother was a senator. Senator is a very powerful politician. And his best friend that he grew up with in school was an FBI director. Very powerful. They were keeping his ass out of jail. He was paying them to stay out of jail. And they was doing that. He was racketeering all over the place. But the government made his brother step down as a senator. They set the crooked FBI director to go to prison. And Whitey Bulger went on the lam. He and his girlfriend ran for 20 or 30 years with the racketeering money. They was even buying stuff out of the 99-cent store, trying to keep that money preserved so they could stay on the run. A little manager, super, and over there in California.
Yeah, thank you, sister.
All right, she's gone, guys. She be out. She don't got time to talk too much. Brother, thank you so much. I wanted to tap so much into the Aboriginal stuff. I hated that we didn't get to it till she got ready to get off, but you never know when she has to go. She gets a lot of important calls, and it's very did his own interview. He like forget what Sister Soul wanted. Like that was so crazy, but he was still good. But at the same time, I'm gonna play a little bit of some of the conversation. We had a pretty good conversation. A couple of people came up. Let's play about 10 minutes of this, and I'm gonna get to the next thing. Let's go. Very understandable, but this was like so phenomenal. People, you guys that were asking questions in the chat, if I didn't get everything, to her in time, I asked you guys to jump up. I dropped the link. I don't know what else to tell you, but what do you feel about what she said, bro? When it comes to even that last bit of the I be trying to slow down. My mind be rambling. I be trying to slow down. My mind be rambling. Information and some of that stuff. It's not the exact wording, but when you listen, you'll hear the explanation. I've talked about the cloning things multiple times. Sometimes I get kind of laughed at, and I talk about how they used to do the cloning back in ancient times. They even have pictures where people don't understand. They're actually showing incubators. I literally did a live on that a couple of weeks ago. It's phenomenal that some of this information, because we don't really be having time to get into other people's information a lot, because there's so much going on in each different area per se.
That's a fact. Like I have like just think about it, sis. Just in the Aboriginal community, right?
Yes.
Usually, if you Aboriginal Power is gonna be live. If I have time, I'm going live directly after him. Right. And if Chief got time, Chief going live. If somebody else is live, you know what I'm saying? It's so many people within the community, you know what I'm saying? And plus, I don't even get your notifications, which we need to fix that. Make sure y'all subscribe to Sister Soul right now so we can get her up in the algorithms, because like I had to search for your channel, you know what I mean? Even though I shared it 15 goddamn times. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times it be just when people watch what they see on the timeline, you know what I mean? And so you could have been live and I could have been looking for something to watch, but because I didn't know, there was no way I would have possibly known, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a lot of information we need to, get up on, sis, and we need to link up with and kind of see, you know what I mean? We need to do a build for sure.
It coincides. Yes, it coincides a lot. And, a lot of times what it is when the information is, how can I say, kind of foreign or different to a person, they're not perceiving it as a normal conversation per se, what people think is normal, because they're so caught up in the norm. And that's part of the issue. When you catch yourself out of the norm, you can be more in tune to yourself and catching on to the right frequency of things sometimes. So it's kind of hard a lot of times for people to be in tune with things. And if they hear it, sometimes it's not like they ignoring it, but it's like they don't really tune into that information. It might sound like, oh, I don't know what they're talking about, or that sounds kind of crazy, and they may be doing something else, get distracted. This is normal, because this is meant to happen. These are the distractions that come in to throw us off. These are intentional things that happen. It affects us because there are things that affect our cells and the things that mess with the molecules and everything that use our energy and gives us that light information. To what she was saying, even when she was talking about the DNA and the code, and I talk about that all the time, bro. All that's effective in the crystallization of the cells in our body actually being reformatted from different things that we pick up, even from the computer, the computer, which is the chemical, the chem that is connecting to us. That's the same molecules in this artificial molecule, the nanoparticles, which is all that is, all of that stuff. These things all coincide into our mind and our delivery of information to actually perceive the true life, versus being in a false ascension of a simulated world or a fake reality for things that have been put in place to misguide us or mislead us.
Stop right there.
I'm sorry.
Said a whole goddamn lot, nigga. You just turned into Sophia, goddamn it. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, bro. I be doing that. I be trying to slow down. My mind be rambling.
Oh my goodness. So
you know, when you was just talking, it just puts, and when she was speaking, this was the same frequency, right? I started visualizing, right, what's really going on, right? And so it's like she said, right? An imitation could never be the original. You know what I mean? Could imitate it, right? And so just like everything we talking about in we could apply to the information that we heard tonight and in our own realities, right? When we was talking about her writing the first edition, right? She wrote the primaries, right? So all these other editions that come out after the fact, right? Usually they change some shit around, they move it. It doesn't, it's not the same as its original construction. You know what I mean? And so that's literally what the Matrix is on both sides of the coin, right? It's the womb, right? Which gives us the ability to produce life and create galaxies and create all existence that we see, right? But also on the other side, right, we have a certain group of individuals, right, whose sole purpose is to imitate or to recreate, right?
Yes.
It's already have been created and that's already instilled, right? It's like trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Fucking the wheel is already like the wheel is everything we ever need,
bro.
right?
Oh my goodness, we literally tapped into that. Explained it, broke it down. It's so phenomenal. Real quick, I gotta welcome my bro, Huey P. Man, I needed you in here with just because I don't even know why, because the sis was on your vibe, your frequency. You would have been excited, bro, if you was up here. Welcome, bro. What's up with you? What's going on, Wisdom? You next. What's going on with y'all?
What's going on with the family? What's going on? Was out and about, was trying to get it. I was rushing, trying to get it. Like, Daddy, what you look, man, y'all making me miss it.
She just got off like 5 minutes ago, bro. Literally 5 minutes ago. She went in on the spells. She broke it down. You'd have been excited. She broke it down. You got to go back and hear it.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna do that. What's going on to the guy Ab? What's going on? The young phenom. What's going on, man? Wisdom.
Peace, God. Peace. What's going on?
Yeah, I missed it too. So I wish I had a color too, but I was just coming there to support. That's about it.
Yes. She talked about, let me say she broke down some spell stuff and with the words and the manipulation and stuff we always be talking about. She broke down a lot of things. She talked about the clone and stuff. I mean, she literally got into the stuff I broke down earlier when we're talking about the 12, the 12 grid and all that stuff. She didn't say it exactly like that, but she broke it all down. Of course, it had to come back full circle. You already know. Just like when Huey was on the live, she called me. She went into talking about spells, and she never talked about spells to me before. And we've had many phone conversations. I've never heard her. She's talked about certain words and things, but she's never went into spells. And she broke it down. I'm like, oh my gosh. The same time he was on live, I'm like, this is just phenomenal. So you already know it just came full circle. What are you guys feeling about this? Whoever next, go ahead, y'all. It was just a great, exciting build. I'm so glad you guys came through. Add Power. I really appreciate you, brother, jumping up here and bringing some insight from your perspective. Like you said, you hadn't really heard some of the stuff I be talking about, but just getting that information out there. Anybody that's listening, I know it's phenomenal, and we really appreciate her, like you said. So yeah, I'm gonna just mute my mic and let y'all go ahead.
Yeah, she definitely opened my eyes. See, this is the thing, y'all. Sometimes you can hear something a whole bunch of times, but it ain't tuned to your frequency. You know what I mean? And like sometimes you hear it and it clicks and you get it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it has to be a specific individual that has that frequency that you can internalize. You know what I mean? A lot of people have the information about a lot of things, right? But not everyone could break it down, like she said earlier, right? Until its most elementary form, right? So that even a child could understand it. Like that's how you really know that you have a true understanding about whatever you're talking about and shit. So it was just so deep. Like I never heard that, the understanding that the matrix is the womb. But as soon as she said that, right? As soon as she said the matrix is the womb, the first thing that popped in my head, and she was talking about the waters that you in, shit like that. And it made me think of the primordial soup they say that people just evolved out of, all of a sudden, right? You know what I mean? It made me see so many correlations, not only with just throughout our reality and what we've been taught, but also with the movie as well, and how there's certain individuals that's not like everybody else, right? They're just clones, right? They're just agents. They just work to do specific jobs within the system that's being created. And so when you be able to step outside both systems on both sides, from the womb to the fictitious reality that man created, right? You understand that that's all he is attempting to do, right? Is imitate what is already natural, right? Somehow recreate recreate what's already been done. Everything with that is inside you, everything that your ancestors have passed down to you, right? You are God. You have that ability to continue to pass down your bloodline and continue to do what our ancestors have done for thousands and thousands, if not millions and millions and millions of years. And like, when you put that in perspective, right, it's easy to kind of move. Like, it's good to have a culture, right? It's good to have an understanding and a foundation for who you are and how you identify yourself as an individual, especially in a matrix where labels are so prevalent, right? But just like the people in the movie, right? They lived in the real world, but they was able to go within the matrix and move and manipulate things as needed be for the betterment of civilization and humankind, right? As they like to say. So I just see a lot of things within this conversation, and then what I know from just seeing a couple of the movies and things of that nature, to where it's putting everything in full perspective for me for what is most important, and that is that womb, right? What they're trying to stop, what they trying, like, how many of our people die in the womb every year? Right? How many, like, the whole fucking, like, everything is about that womb and that matrix, man, and that manifestation and being their life. And like, when you just think about that, right, everything else is it's not as important. Like, that's why I get why the animals, have their seasons where they fight over who can produce and procreate, right? And like, this is an honor and something that everybody doesn't get. You know what I'm saying? This is not something, and we take it for granted, I think, as individuals and shit like that. So I just see a lot of things. I learned a lot. I thank you for bringing me on here to interact with the sister, and I definitely will have a lot to manifest.
Yes, you're quite welcome, brother. Next, Wisdom, you hadn't said anything, brother. Thanks so much for coming up. What's going on with you? And did you have anything to say?
I'm trying to keep it short, because I could be long-winded as hell, you know what I mean? So I don't really want to get started, really, but because based on what the brother was just saying, there's a lot I could build on from that, and first of all, I want to tell you, bro, if you just look up the word matrix or whatever, and you go into the etymology of it and stuff like that, it'll let you know that it is the womb, and a lot of people just don't realize that. I don't know why. But then when you go further into it, it lets you know that mother is matter and stuff like that. So it explains it all. But people had a general concept when they say mother and stuff like that to actually mean like your mama. You know what I mean? But in the esoteric aspect of it, they're not necessarily talking about your physical mother. They're just talking about just what we call Mother Earth and stuff like that, the energy that make it be. But then when you go a step deeper into it, once people grab that concept, then you can get to the concept to where the wound is of the mind. You know what I mean? So, what they call in the crown chakra and stuff like that, that's the womb of the mind. And so when you see these caduceus and stuff like that, or you see pictures where people appear to have wings on their head, and people might think it's sick, or they think might have a vagina on their head and stuff like that, they're really just implicating the enlightenment when you reach full enlightenment and you gave birth to that enlightenment. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily no Aphrodite type thing. But let me just stop right there, man. But that's the couple thing I want to touch on with you on That's it.
Yes, yes. What about you, Huey?
Nah, y'all saying it is what it is, man. Well, I've been saying this shit, like bro said, we can say it a million times, but the womb, the hole, the portal, the realm, we were just talking about the hole, how everything came out of the hole, the spinning. We were talking about the spinning and the spells of the womb. Everything was casted out of the mouth. Mama was war and material. Everything is being broadcasted through a holy one. The holy water is Mata or Mama, which is material. Everything that became material came from Mama out of the water, the soup. So it was you and P. We had to be
your maternal bloodline.
Yes, Lord. You feel me? You know what I mean? That's why our mother is the only thing that ever mattered, bro. Because that is Mama. She is all matter in wars and wards. That's why we are moving forwards for Mama. Forward is Ma. When people start getting it, bro, it's like when we crunch that thirst, that soda open up, we say, we say AW or Ma. Because it's what it is, man. Mama is all that it is. Once we start seeing it, we start understanding what the trick is about. That's why they say that most hoes is tricks. The house we live in is the wounded one, Mama. The Matrix, Mama is tricking all of the motherfucking Johns and all of the niggas out they dough, which is the currency. She getting they ass for they cash. We tricking, bro. We tricking.
What's good? I want to say much love, much respect to everyone.
Lord, I'm sorry for not even welcoming you. Let me say that first off, Big Philly. I was saying something to everybody else. I didn't even, and you was up here. Forgive me, brother, because it's not that yeah. You know, you be sitting low most of the time. It's not that I
yes, Lord.
You know what I mean? I just try to tell the people that's the only reason I do my health thing, so people can get in tune with the health. Stop trusting these people. You know what I mean? Much love to the family from the OG.
Much love to you, brother. Thanks so much for coming up. You know, I appreciate your presence. Yes. I just dropped the link, guys. We just did literally, when I say Huey P did such a breakdown on words today. You know, really like making you see the spells. I dropped it in the chat. If you guys want to check that out, please go make sure you check that out. The link is right here in the chat. Let me go ahead and highlight it for you guys. I want you. Okay, guys, we're gonna get to the other one. I didn't even realize we were going so long. I forgot I got to get ready to run out. I want to play. Hold on. I want to play this other video, not the whole thing, actually just a few minutes of it before we get out of here. I want you guys to hear a bit of this also going on, that dehumanizing creation of mutations or mutants in life off of the living cells and the bloodline of the Aboriginal Indigenous Indians. Right, so let's get into this. I'm going to start this. This I posted on the community tab as well. This is the miscegenation of all lives, all of the races, race blending from start to finish the intrusion. But we're going to start at 58 minutes here. I want you guys to hear a little bit about this. This was the mystery of the pyramids and the Sphinx, questions answered. But we were not seeing some of it, so I apologize for the reading, guys. Of diverse tribes from different parts of the earth, produced an intelligent, brave, and progressive people, and like of which have probably since appeared upon the planet. The arts which have made Greece famous were all undoubtedly of Egyptian origin. The arts which have made Greece famous were all undoubtedly of Egyptian origin.
The philosophy that is still discussed is our school was ever evolved from the misogynetic mind developed about the banks of the Nile. And as we're talking about the Nile, we know that is in America. As for the mechanical arts, it is admitted that with all of our discoveries in the physical sciences, with all of the marvels affected by the stream, by the stream, I believe, we are still far behind. The ancient Copts, a pyramid could not be built by any modern people. The immense masses of stones were removed hundreds of miles from their original beds by machinery of which we know nothing. Mr. Wendell Phillips, in his famous lecture on the lost arts, shows how many different branches of human industry were known to the ancients and even to the Egyptians, about which we are entirely ignorant. Even in painting, they seem to have possessed a knowledge which the world has lost, and many of the pictures taken from the pyramids are untarnished by time, while those painted by Titian, Angelo, and Raphael are chalky and discolored. The Sphinx questions is answered. Egypt calls to us from her tomb, is telling us that the secret of progress and the final perfected humanity lies in the principles of miscegenation. If we would be raised by the full structure of manhood and womanhood, if we would be as gods, knowing good from evil, if we would fill our proper place in nature, we must mingle our blood with all the children of the common father of humanity. The great lessons of all religions in self-abnegation, the giving up of the giving up of prejudice, the acknowledgement of our brother man without regard to his complexion or creed or standing or being dearer to us than our own selves. This is a lesson that America, strong in the pride of color or country, would lay well at heart. Egypt decayed because her people forgot the lesson of their own history. They started mixing. Should have taught them. After the race became thoroughly composite, they intermarried with only with one another, and even carried the breeding in and in practice to such an extent. The breeding in and in practice to such an extent that brothers married sisters and mothers married sons. Physical degeneracy and mental imbecility rapidly set in, and the nation sank as swiftly as it had soared, and by the operation of the same great law. All right, so we're going to stop that. I'm going to get to another one of these books real quick. Let's get to it. Oh, goodness gracious. I definitely got to get something. I have like zero energy, and I'm just trying. He's on the fence. 1492, he was on the fence. At the woman peg. One of the tipped an English renegade who on the same day Marlborough was destroyed, and the exception of the houses with had the garrison. This attack was probably made by Philip himself with the Niptuck and the and the Narragansett Indians.
Hold on, guys. I thought I had this on the right book with the miscegenation. Hold on a second. I don't know how I missed it. Let's see.
That it gets kind of frustrating, but
let's see.
In a minute, I'm gonna grab me some grapes or something, and we'll continue on. But I'm gonna get into instinct. When Rome fell into decay, not simply for his personal rights, not
Oh man, y'all, I ain't gonna hold y'all up if I can't find this in a second, because I could have sworn it was at this area, but I may have missed it.
Branches of.
Let me go back a little bit right here.
Mingling of diverse tribes from of diverse is probably
diverse tribe. Okay.
Types, or the group type and birth into the mind of the nation, a new civilization, new story.
Okay, I think
Know how to interpret it. The physician tells them they must travel to a warmer climate.
That's it. Here we go.
I just went like way up.
Here we go.
Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, so they need the intermingling. This is important. They need the intermingling of the rich tropic temperament of the Negro to give warmth and fullness to their natures. They need intermingling of the rich tropic temperament of the Negro to give warmth and fullness to their natures from their very thin blood. They feel the yearning and do not know how to interpret it. The physician tells them they must travel to a warmer climate. They recognize in this a glimpse of the want they feel, though they are hopeless of its efficiency. I'm sorry, that's not right. They are hopeless of its efficacy to fully restore the lost vitality. Still, they feel the nameless longing. Yet waft me from the harbor mouth. Wild wind, I seek a warmer sky, and I will see before I die the palms and temples of the South. It is only by the infusion into their very system of the vital forces of the tropic race, that they may regain health and strength, by blending the nation. We must accept the facts of nature. We must accept the facts of nature. We must become a yellow-skinned, black-haired people in fine. We must become messages, mixing. If we would attain the fullest results of civilization. The mystery of the pyramids, the Sphinx questions answered. The first instance giving us.
I just want y'all to hear that miscegenation. Hold on, we're gonna stop this.
The first instance.
We're gonna stop this. And I wanted y'all to just hear that little bit on miscegenation. I wanted to thank you guys for coming in, everyone that came in to enjoy my birthday with me. I am going out, but I will be, I did want to do another, definitely a more informative build later. Something I wanted to do Monday. If it doesn't get too late and I don't get too busy, I'm definitely going to be back later. If not, I'll definitely be with you guys tomorrow with some great information. I definitely just wanted you guys to make sure you listen to my my sponsor, who has a great video. Make sure you go and check out the site. The site is also dropped in there on some things with some awesome indigenous products, so on and so forth. It is in the chat as well. Let me see, where is it actually? Appreciate anyone that's supporting me and actually being able to look here. Being able to, sponsor this person is a pleasure. Okay, let's go. Just a second. Here we go. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, we're going to play this commercial on the way out. You guys have a blissful day like I will. And I'll try and get with you guys later, as I said, or tomorrow. Peace and blessings.
la